because I'm fulfilling my purpose of life. See, everything was created for purpose. Trees have a purpose. The moon has a purpose. Rats have a purpose. Insects, everything God created has a purpose. That's another one of my lectures entitled The Purpose of Life. And the wise man is he who knows his life purpose. See, 10 men with the knowledge of their purpose are more powerful than 1,000 men working from morning until evening and who don't know their purpose.
Hello, everybody. Recording live from somewhere.
Minister of Information.
Next question. Minister.
Did you wake me up?
Minister.
Did you wake me up?
Minister.
Why did you wake me up?
The minister. Wake up.
Minister of Information. All I'm offering is the truth.
The minister.
I want the truth!
The minister.
You can't handle the truth.
M.O.I.
Minister.
Without knowledge of self.
Minister of Information. M.O.I.
Who taught you to hate yourself?
1,000 ministers.
MOI Podcast.
Peace to the planet. It is I, M.O.I. Make sure my volume is on point. Peace and light. Everybody can hear me? Peace and love, family. Peace and love, family. What up? Here we go. Hey, listen. We got a lot to get through tonight, family. Peace and love. First of all, everybody, if you don't know who I am, I'm the Minister of Information, and I am dedicated to getting through this weekly series. I have a series of information to get through. You had caught me last time. We were dealing with, hold on. Give me a second. There we go. Last time we were dealing with get out of your cotton picking mind. Today we're going to refocus that attention on the real revolutionaries. That's right, the real revolutionary. Listen, I'm not just talking about the Revolutionary War. I'm talking about the whole history of it. And a lot of times people give you bits and pieces of history. Well, tonight, family, we're going to go in for about 2 hours, maybe 2.5 hours. Okay. So I'm not sure what plans you got for the evening. And then I'm going to circle back on Friday also. I don't think I uploaded this one. Hold on. Where is it at? Or did I? Hold on. I'm going to show you what topic we're going to cover on Friday. And you know, the one thing that I love about the master students, disciples, everybody on Crumb TV, you guys already know how we get down anyway. So, okay, here we go. The one on Friday, I'm dealing with the HBCU, Historical Black Colleges University Untold History, mainly dealing with land grant colleges. I don't think people understand the history between land grant colleges and the acts and laws that were enacted in the early 1800s against so-called Negroes. Literacy laws were literally passed at the same times. These land grant missionaries, they were not even universities. They didn't, like, a lot of these HBCUs didn't receive accreditation to after the 1950s. In some cases, after the 1930s. I'm sorry. 1937, a lot of these colleges just had to start receiving accreditations. The latter mid-1900s, they also received the title universities. These were missionary schools. These were missionary schools, family, for the purpose of teaching them religious protocol. And they went into these black orphan asylums. I've never heard anybody talk about black orphan asylums. I heard Crom mention about the orphan train. Now, the orphan train mostly dealt with Irish immigrant children going out west, but the black orphan institutions, or asylums they call them, you're going to go back that far and show you the progressive so-called historicity of Negroes. This is this Friday coming up. I'm going to be doing this live this Friday. This will be my third live this week. It's kind of something new for me. I never went live 3 times in a week, first of all, that I can recall. That's in a long time. But shouts out to Crom TV for allowing me the platform to go live over here. Shouts out to you guys, all of you all, for tapping in. So don't automatically assume there's Crom going live every time, even though he told me to definitely put my name on the tag. I think my name is on the flyer, though. MOI is in all over the flyer. So you guys should know it's me going live. And the good brother Crom may or may not tap in, which is fine. It's going to be a little bit more structured. We're going to have an actual agenda of what I created, which is a course outline. We have 5 modules to get through this evening. I'm going to do my best to get through all 5 modules. If you want a copy of this outline, this is just an outline, then feel free to shoot me an email over, where's my email at? There it is right here. The MOI Podcast at gmail.com. The MOI Podcast at gmail.com. Shoot me an email. Subject, Doctrine of Discovery and Christian Conquest. It needs to be the subject, so I know which outline you want. Now, I'm going to create an outline for the one I did the other day as well. Get out of your cotton picking mind. And I'll have an outline ready for Friday also. But this is just a light course outline with 5 modules that we're going to cover tonight. It's a lot of information. So we may only make it down to module 3. I'm not sure, because I want to cut off in time enough for questions and answers tonight, which is typically something that I haven't done, but I want to start doing questions and answer sessions on here. So about 30 minutes before I get ready to go off air, I'm going to open up the floor for questions and answers, only dealing with what we talked about tonight, though. I don't want to go all over the place. I'm trying to be more structured, more intentional with the information. So that's why I got the course outlines, and I'll reference the course outlines as we go through it. Okay, that's cool with y'all. So off the rip, let's go ahead and start sharing this live right now. Get people behind it. Let's rally the troops. All my master students, all my disciples. Let's rally the troops. Get everybody excited about tonight. A lot of note taking, though, man. I'm not saying it to scare nobody. I'm just giving you guys a mental preparation to be prepared for what's about to happen tonight. All great information, though. Great information. So let's go back to house rules. Shout out the first responders. People here early. I was a little concerned because usually more people tap in early when they see that the live go up. So but we'll see how they change on Friday. Friday, I'm going live at noon. This Friday, I'll be live noon on Crom TV. I decided to do 7:30 tonight because I figure everybody will be home or get settled. I'm not sure, but we'll play with it a little bit more next time. What's good? 369 Dimension Readings. Appreciate you. And listen, shouts to everybody who sent me cash apps too. As soon as my phone turned back on, I'm going to be shouting out names for those cash apps for the, I think it was Tuesday or Monday or Tuesday I went live last time. You guys showed mad love on the cash app. Appreciate y'all so much for that. Thank y'all so much. It's a lot of hard work that goes into this. So whether I'm on here going live, with the Crom going live, we do extensive research, family. Like we really research this shit. And a lot of this stuff, I've researched previously. I've already talked about it and just doing a review. And a lot of stuff is a review for me. But as I go through this information, I'm finding new discoveries every single time. So definitely continue to show love and support us any way you can by dropping something in that donation or collection plate, even if it's just $1. You know what I'm saying? That's a portion of gratitude. Because what happens is a lot of everybody on this live who went to institutions or universities, I guarantee you a lot of this stuff that we talk about on here, you didn't get this type of information. You probably got, breezed over it. But we're like giving out free education. So keep that in mind. Appreciate y'all. Okay. True King always in the building. This brother here always show up for class. And yes, this is class. Anytime MOI comes on here, I'm teaching class. I'm not here for entertainment purposes. If you are not used to my teaching styles, listen, I'm not here to convince you nor persuade with you. I'm not going to try to argue with you or debate you. This is just my portion of understanding. Please do your own research on what I'm talking about. Then it becomes something you know, not something you just heard. My goal is to get you to begin to learn and think on your own. This is called the re-education of the Negro. Carter G. Wilson, 1960s, had a book called The Miseducation of the Negro. Great body of work. You should go read it. So shouts out to True King, brother. Appreciate you so much. Miss Jordan and Mrs. Jordan in the building. Peace and love to you. What's happening? Rainbow Light Warrior, peace with the green hearts. Appreciate you. Khalid Ali, he said, I've been wanting to show love and appreciate and respect to all your teachings, but I do not have Cash App. What other options you have? I have Apple Pay also. Khalid Ali, I also have Apple Pay, which you probably would need my number for that. And I don't mind giving my number out. I don't mind doing that at all. If you want to make a donation, or whatever the case is, there's a Cash App. Let me update that with putting my Apple Pay information in as well. If you want to send an Apple Pay, that works too. Not that I'm against Zelle or anything else, but I think Apple Pay also works for me as well. Give me 1 second, family. Let me put that information there as well. If you have Apple Pay. All right, there we go. Just want to update it real quick. Scroll close, right there. There you go. Appreciate you. Scrooge Greedy. What's going on in the building? Martina Wilson, peace and love, brother Crum. This is MOI, but I'll send Crum the love though. I'll send Crum the love for sure. Listen, I'm not sure who you are, but you rock with me hella hard over on TikTok, and I appreciate you for that. Anytime I go live on TikTok or drop some on TikTok, this person right here is going hammer time over on TikTok with me. I appreciate it. And if you're on TikTok, give me a follow. The Minister of Information, THE, Minister of Information over on TikTok. TikTok going stupid right now over there. I promise you. Spark D, peace and love. What's going on? All right. So listen. Oh my God, Will Justice, what's up? Listen, Will, listen, that's what we're doing. That's what it, because listen, Will, well, we have to understand this right here. A lot of people come on this shit just for entertainment purposes, to be entertained. You know what I'm saying? Like they just want to be entertained, man. They're here for the oohs and the ahs. And I tried to switch my style to be like that, and I fell short because that's not my MO. My MO, I am, for those you don't know, I am a collegiate teacher. I've taught at the university level for a cumulative time of about 6 years. I taught at Stratford University in Virginia Beach, culinary science. I taught at Athens Technical College, culinary science and history. So I do teach at the collegiate level, like seriously, not just in the conscious community. I'm really a freaking college professor. So I'm used to writing curriculums and course outlines and course developments and giving you guys what's called the learning objective, the course outcome, so on and so forth. I'm going to start giving you guys quizzes too. I'm not playing around. I'm going to start giving y'all quizzes. You know what I'm saying? Just to ensure that you guys are paying attention to what's going on. Because that's important to me. And again, we're not here to entertain nobody. So Will, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Khalid Ali, listen, that'll be a huge blessing. I appreciate it. Now I'm about to go hella hard. I'm about to go hella hard, Khalid, just for you. I'm about to go hella hard for Khalid right now. You know what I'm saying? It's about to happen right now. All right. So yeah, for real. There's a dope ass graphic. And Vela, if I'm saying that right, Vela is always supporting me over on TikTok, man. So I appreciate that. So listen, y'all, go ahead and get this shared, man. Let's get our numbers up real quick. We're only about 65 viewers. We're streaming across all platforms right now. We're over on Facebook. We're across two YouTube platforms right now. So definitely share. Like the channel, subscribe. Appreciate y'all. Definitely give Crom a follow, Crom TV. You guys should already follow Crom TV. I'm over on YouTube as well. Give me a holla on YouTube as well. On Instagram, The Minister Informing. Give me a Grammy. I haven't been active on that page about a year, 2 years. I got to log back into that page on Instagram and get back popping over there. But without further ado, we're discussing a lot tonight. The Conquest of the Army of God. And I made that title on purpose because once I explain to you who the army of God is and who God is on earth right now, I want you guys to get out of your cotton picking mind, get out of your your psychonegrosis. All right. I think I need to show you what psychonegrosis is one more time for all of you who may have forgotten what psychonegrosis is. And as I go over this definition of psychonegrosis, let's be sure to hold ourselves accountable that we're not falling into this spell of psychonegrosis. Give me 1 second to pull it up for you guys real quick. And I think what I'm going to do is just go ahead and just make it mandatory, like the Pledge of Allegiance, that we read through this every time I go live. Because I take this shit very serious when it comes to education, okay? Education is important. Education is not power. It's the application of education that gives you power, okay? I know a lot of smart people who are powerless. So it's not education is power. It's the application of what you learn that gives you the power. Islam? All right. Psychonegrosis is a mental disorder affecting the spirit, personality. And remember, guys, this is in the 1960s. So the terminology is going to be a little bit different. It's going to say Negroes because you were identified as Negroes in the 1960s from the 1920s. Okay. In the mid 1960s, you became black. So you're going to see the word black in here also. All right. Referring to the same body of people, though. Psychonegrosis is a mental disorder affecting the spirit, personality, motives, and actions of Negroes who have failed to rid themselves of the psychological ills they've occurred from their collective experience with foreigners. Now, who do you think the foreigners are? When it says from their collective experience with foreigners, we've learned about the foreigners coming over here in 16 something, right? There's not much known about any of the foreigners who came here until I started to expose that the Spaniards were here, the French were here, a few of the Portuguese. Portuguese mostly stayed in South America during their late 1400, 1500 conquest. But you see a lot of influence from Spain, Britain, and France over in the Americas at this time. So when it says their collective experience with foreigners, marked by a disordered idea of self and others, psychonegrosis result as a unnatural pattern of perception. The way you see things, the way you perceive information is unnatural. Your logic is unnatural. The way you think is unnatural. The way you speak is unnatural. Your behavior is unnatural. Your emotional expression and is accompanied by various other unnatural dispositive manifestations, such as, but not limited to, self-group depreciation. The champion of non-black ideas. That's a big one. A lot of our people are a champion of non-black ideas, like things that have nothing to do with us. People go along to get along, okay? Conversion to non-black religion. This is a big one because tonight is going to be steeped in non-black religion. What I learned in the Moorish Science Temple of America. Remember, I'm the founder of Temple Number 14 out of Virginia Beach, Moorish Science Temple of America. And I give honor to Noble Drew Ali for coming with this information in the 1920s. But it was said that Noble Drew Ali stated that we have to return, hear me out, we have to return Christianity and the church back to the Europeans because they created that for their salvation. We have to return the church, which comes from the word kirk, which is the worship of another deity. And we have to give back the church and Christianity back to the Europeans. So tonight I'm going to show you how they created Christianity in the church for their salvation. Nothing to do with you. Nothing to do with you. Okay? Anyway, the champion non-black ideas, conversion to non-black religions, xenophilia, especially Anglo-centric xenophilia. We're going to talk about Anglicans. We're going to talk about the Saxons. You know, the Anglicans and the Saxons got together as a group, became the Anglo-Saxons. But mostly the Anglican Church, the Catholic Church, the monarch of Europe, and the popes conspired to rule the world. And that's what we're going to talk about tonight. Okay? Now, cognitive dissonance, sexual deviation. Sexual deviation. You can't even hardly scroll through Instagram, TikTok, or no, especially not Twitter. Lord have mercy. No platform without our people, especially our ladies, our women's, shaking or twerking. Their like the first thing you see is their hot backside. You don't see their face. You don't understand what their ideals are. You see them just twerking in front of the camera to gain views, to gain followers. This is part of that sexual deviation. Escapism, dual or double consciousness. A lot of people have dual consciousness when in the conscious community. They say one thing, but they believe another thing. Conflicting loyalty. Who are you loyal to? Your people or somebody else? Unscrupulous liberalism. Differing in degrees of severity from one individual to another. A lot of our people are sick, man. And this is the condition. Psychonegrosis. Write this down. Anytime I go live, I'm going to read this first to set the tone. And as I go through the information, I want you guys to think back on this definition as I go through the PowerPoint, as I go through, the information tonight. And I'm going to do my best to go in order. But European history is so jacked up. Sometimes I got to go out of order in order to bring order. Islam, psychonegrosis. It's our first word for tonight. As we get started, y'all already know, get your pen, get your paper, get your pad, get your pencil, get whatever writing apparatus you're going to use. And let's get started. Class is in session. Y'all ready? All right. Here we go. So we're going to cover the introduction of the 1493 Doctrine of Discovery. We're going to cover the historical context, the overview of the 15th century Europe, that's the 1400s. If you see 16th century, that's the 1500s, and so on and so forth. The age of exploration and its motivations. Section 2, the Papal Bull, Inter Caetera, the key provisions and implications, the role of Pope Alexander VI. Section 3, the impact on indigenous populations, legal and moral justification of colonization, long-term effect on indigenous culture. That's just module 1. That's just module 1, family. Module 2 is the rise of the Christian empire, Christianity and the Roman Empire, the spread of Christianity, the establishment of the Holy Roman Empire, the church as a political power, the merging of religion and political authorities, influence on European monarchs, the Crusades. Module 3, the conquest of Christianity via war. This is called Christendom, religious warfare, medieval Europe, the Spanish Requisites, the expansion into the Americas, the fall of the Moors. This is a popular subject by everybody. The requisition in the fall of Granada, the aftermath of the expulsion. We won't get too much into that, but we will cover it. Module 5, the long-term effect of the Doctrine of Discovery. The Christian empires, global impact, reflection and critiques, ethnic consideration of religious conquest, re-examination of historical narrative. As you can see, we got quite a bit of information to get through. And as I said, I'll open up the floor for the last 30 minutes of questions and answers. So just take good notes as we go through this information, family. It's going to be a lot of information to get through. I'm going to do my best to get through it, though, okay? Congratulations, Scrooge Greedy. Thank you for becoming a member on Chrome TV. Thank you for becoming a member. There is a membership category now. Like literally collegiate membership you can sign up for on Chrome TV right now. So make sure you get on that. Sign up. All right, let's get into it. At the dawn of America, the first question I guess we have to ask ourselves is America even a Christian colony? Is America a Christian colony? Is America a Christian colony? That's an open question for you guys. Is the United States or America a Christian colony? Well, let's put it in context. As I said earlier, be quite a bit of reading tonight, so please bear with me. Many believe the founders wanted a Christian America. Did the Supreme Court declare America a Christian nation? Church of Holy Trinity versus United States. That's court case 143 U.S. 457 in 1892. That's an actual U.S. court case. The Church of Holy Trinity versus United States. Actual court case involving the application of federal law forbidding the importation of foreign contract laborers. Is notable for Chief Justice David J. Brewer declaring the United States a Christian nation. Church of Holy Trinity versus United States. Who brought Christians to America? The Spanish, the French, and the British brought Roman Catholicism to the colonies of New Spain, the New French, and Maryland, respectively, while Northern Europe people introduced Protestantism to Massachusetts Bay Colony, New Netherland, Virginia Colony, Carolina Colony, and Newfoundland and Labrador and Lower Canada. So listen, off the rip, we're already naming who brought what. This is a Christian nation. This is a Christian nation. Now, JDL, I can also show you in the Treaty of Friendship and Peace where they said America is not a Christian nation. But that was in the 1700s. All right. It's now being said by the Supreme Court judge, this is a Christian nation. But my point is to show you how it became a Christian nation, because we know it was not a Christian nation. Off the rip, it was not that. So off the rip, write down Spain, France, and Britain. Spain, France, and Britain are primarily responsible for bringing over what's called Roman Catholicism. That becomes important later, I promise you. Roman Catholicism was brought into the colonies by Spain, France, and Britain. Now, why was Spain named first? Spain was the first of the colonizers, along with the French, the Dutch, the Portuguese. Britain came on the scene last. What religion started America? Americans' origins were deeply religious and infused with the faith of traditions informed by the Bible. Many of the early English settlers came to America fleeing religious persecution. The original 13 colonies chartered by the crown were in fact under the rule of Christian state with the established church. So off the rip, the 13 colonies and those who came to the 13 colonies were, for the sake of the argument, Christians. Now we know there's Puritans, Quakers, Calvinists, who else? Puritans, Quakers, Brownists, and so on and so forth. Those were the pilgrims. They were on a pilgrimage, not that they were pilgrims. So what I'm going to show you tonight is how this ideology spread from Rome throughout Europe. I mean, throughout Spain, throughout Portugal, all into African territory. And we know Spain was not set up to be a Christian nation in the first place. Is we get the rise of the Berbers and Islam, or Islamism, or what was called Mohammedanism, of Mohammedans. They were not called Muslims. They were called Mohammedans, the followers of the Prophet Muhammad, may peace be upon him. The followers of Muhammad coming into a Anglican territory. And then later, I'm going to show you how the fact that this religious crusade was challenged by the monarch, the House of Castile and the House of Aragon, under Ferdinand and Isabella. All right, I'm going to show you the plot to overthrow the Islamic State. Now this is a story that's been going on even in our time, family, to overthrow the Muslims, America fighting against the Muslims, 9/11 and so on and so forth, Al Qaeda and ISIS, and making you guys all afraid of the Muslims. Ooh, boogie, 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 boogity, boogity, boogity. When the whole time it was the Christians. And I'm going to show and prove how it was the Christians. And that's why Noble Jew Ali, wa alayhi salam, and peace be upon the Prophet, that's why he said you got to return Christianity and the church back to the Europeans, because it was established for their salvation. Christianity was created for them. And I'm going to show and prove that tonight. And the reason that we fall is because we honor not our forefathers. We honor the forefathers of our enslavers. Every nation has suffered slavery due to the fact that they honor not their forefathers and foremothers. We're honoring deities we know nothing about. We're not honoring our forefathers and foremothers. As Afro-Indigenous, African Americans, whatever label you want to put on us, we're not honoring our religious creed. We're following their creed. And due to that reason, we suffer the most. So now we have established that America was set up to be a Christian nation. How did this Christian empire even start? Where does this Christian empire get its roots from? What is the grassroots of Christianity? Now, there's two forms. There's two forms. Are you like, what? Two forms? There's Christianity and there's Christendom. Christianity and then Christendom. Christendom was done through conquest. Conquest. Catholicism is in every island, not just Haiti, not just Haiti, but every single of the British islands is under Catholicism. Even Puerto Rico, South America, Central America, Mexico, so on and so forth, were all set up under Catholicism because that's who settled the area. I just showed you earlier that Spain and France mostly set up those areas or set up those colonies in those areas. I'm going to show and prove in a second. Christianity became the official religion of the Roman Empire in 380 AD, but the process began in 313 AD when Emperor Constantine issued the Edict of Milan, which legalized Christianity and ended the persecution of Christians. Write that down for me, family, please. I want to make sure that I don't move too fast because there's going to be a lot of information, like I told you before. But let's jot that down. Write down Constantine. So now we understand that the grassroots of this religion is coming out of Rome. The grassroots of this is coming out of Rome. Christianity became the official religion of Rome, the Roman Empire. So you sheet of paper, I'm gonna do the same thing you guys are doing. Write down Roman. I'm writing it down too. You can't see me, but I'm writing it down. Roman Empire. 380 AD. Write down Roman Empire. 380 AD. Out beside that, write down Constantine. Constantine. If you have an empire, you have to have an emperor. Write down Constantine. Constantine issues an edict. Now, anytime an edict is issued, it's also called a papal bull, Papalbull, known as an edict, a decree. A decree. The emperor is decreeing something. Now, we're going to also see the power exchange between the emperor Constantine over to the Pope, the ecclesiastical authority. So you have the imperial authority, which is Constantine, and then you have the ecclesiastical authority. Ecclesiastical is another way of saying religious authority. Constantine is gonna give up his donation or give up his authority over to the papacy. Over to the papacy under what's called the Edict of Milan. Let's take a quick look at the Edict of Milan real quick. And let's see what that is. The Edict of Milan. The Edict of Milan. Write this down, family. The Edict of Milan. The Edict of Milan. Now, the Edict of Milan was on February. You don't even see the date. February 313 AD. Agreement to treat Christians with benevolently within the Roman Empire. You know, the Romans were persecuting the Christians at first. You knew that, right? This is where Paul, who was a Roman, Paul saw the light in the sky and heard a voice, and then Paul converted to Saul. Saul converted to Paul and became a Christian lover and supposedly carried out the duties of becoming an apostle. But the apostle Paul was a Roman first. So this agreement set in place February of 313 AD, an agreement to treat Christians benevolently with the Roman Empire. Western Roman Emperor Constantine I and Emperor Lunetius, who controlled the Balkans, met in modern-day Milan. Among other things, agreed to change the policy towards Christians following the Edict of Toleration. The Edict of Toleration issued by Emperor Galerius Maximus from 305 to 311 was the acting Caesar under the emperor. This is the Roman Empire. The Edict of Milan gave Christianity The Edict of Milan gave Christianity legal status and reprieve from persecution, but did not make it the state church of the Roman Empire. In years before the Council of Constantinople in 381, the Trinitarian version of Christianity became the official religion of the Roman Empire when Emperor Theodosius I issued the Edict of that's a lot of Greek shit. Thessalonians in 380, which reorganized the Catholic Orthodox of the Nicene Creed. Let's get into this real quick. I'm gonna look this up again. Let's go back. Christianity legal status and the reprieve from persecution did not make the state church of the Roman Empire, which occurred in 380 with the Edict of Thessalonians. So we already wrote down Roman Empire, 380 AD, Constantine. Write down that edict right there. Thessalonicia. That's the edict that officially made the Christian religion the state religion for the Roman Empire. This is important, family. If you're not understanding what I'm saying so far, me going forward is going to mess you up. So I want to spend a little bit more time on this. I want to deal with this edict real quick. Let's dive into just a little bit more, okay? This is February 27, 380. Thessalonians 1 made Nicene Christianity the state church of the Roman Empire and condemned other Christian creeds such as Arianism as heresy of foolish madmen and authorized their punishment. Now, Arianism, not the Nazis. Aries was a brother, an Egyptian Coptic priest. Arianism is a Christological doctrine considered heresy by all modern mainstream branches of Christianity. It is first attributed to Arius, a Christian presbyter who preached and studied in Alexander, Egypt. They had to go to Alexander, Egypt because all the Coptic priests of the first council meetings were all Coptic bishops from Egypt. Arian theology holds that Jesus Christ is the Son of God who was begotten by God. Let me show you what Arianism is. You have to know what Arianism is also. It's a lot. We're going to do it, though. Arianism is a Christological doctrine considered heresy by all modern mainstream branches of Christianity. We know how it was made heresy due to that doctrine we saw earlier. It first attributed to Arius. They make him look like a white guy on here. I don't know why, but Arius, Sylvester I, these were all Coptic bishops in Egypt. He preached and studied in Alexander, Egypt. As a Arian theology holds that Jesus Christ is the Son of God, who is begotten by the Father God, with the difference the Son of God did not always exist, but was begotten or made before the time by the God Father. Therefore, Jesus is not, this word right here, conternal with the God Father, but nonetheless, Jesus began to exist outside of time. All that means is, shit, man, it's a lot to get into. Let's do it. Fuck it. Let's do it. I'll make sure you guys write down this edict first. I don't move too fast. If I'm going too fast, say something. If I'm going too fast, just let me know. Arius was what you call a monophysite. Let me show you. This whole argument at the time is dealing with this whole argument at the time is dealing with two different fascists, two different groups, two different ideologies. Hold on. Pull up another screen for y'all real quick. I want you guys to really absorb this information and understand. What is a monophysite? All right. A monophysite is a person that holds that in the person of Jesus Christ is only one nature. This is called Arianism or Arianism. Now, out of Arianism at this time, it created something called an African schism. So write down the word monophysite. This was the dilemma in early Christianity. This is all going to make sense in a second. Monophysite, a person that holds that Jesus Christ is the only one true nature. Now, the opposite of the monophysites, people call dyophysites. What is a dyophyite? Sorry. What is diophysitic? Monophysite versus dyophyite. All right, it ain't giving it to me. Hold on, y'all. Here we go. Diophysitism. You have monophysitism and diophysitism. Diophysite believe in the two natures of Jesus. He's a person, and he's distinctly of the divine nature. Like, he's a superhuman. This is how the Christian church now teaches the doctrine. Arius was saying he can't be both. He can't be both a super being and a man. He can be one or the other. And this was known as an African schism. Watch this. So make sure you guys write this down real quick. I'm going too fast. Just say something. Okay, family? But we got a lot to get through. So I'm going to go a little bit fast on this. Monophysite and dyophysitism. This was the early dilemma of the Christian church. They couldn't decide. Well, they could decide. The Roman Empire decided we're going to go with dyophysitism. The reason that the early Roman Empire, the early Roman church wanted to go with dyophysitic is because the Roman emperors could convert the masses of Romans who were already under what was called, what were they called? What religion? What were they called? It slipped my mind. Hold on. I got the word I want to say in my mind, but it's not that yet. Okay, for example, Christianity right now is known as, it's not monophysite. It's known as henotheism.
According to
This is what Christianity does now. But Christianity is henotheistic due to the fact that the Roman Empire was already under multiple gods. So to get the masses of the Roman civilization to convert to this newfound religion, they couldn't come out and say, hey, we're switching to one God after centuries of believing in Apollo and Jupiter and Zeus and all the other deities. They created what was called henotheism. So the grassroots Christian church is under what's called henotheism. It's the worship of a single supreme being that does not deny the existence of possible other deities that would be worshipped. They didn't want to completely X out everybody else in the Roman Empire who still chose to believe in other deities. So Christianity today falls under what's called henotheism. How do we know that? Because even in the Bible itself, God acknowledges other deities. There should be no other gods but me, acknowledging their other gods. You can ask any Christians, are there other deities? Yeah, there are other deities, but we believe in our deity. That's called henotheism. Psalms 82:1 said, God resides in council amongst the other gods. Let's look it up. Let's prove that Christianity is henotheistic and not monotheistic. I think this is Psalms, if I'm not mistaken, Psalms 82, I believe it is. Yeah, Psalm 82:1. Yeah. God presides in the assembly of God. He judges among the gods. Y'all see that? He judges among the gods. This is in your Bible. And there's other references of other deities as well in the Bible. The Bible has many deities. So Christianity at its core is what's called henotheistic or henotheism. It's not monotheistic. Monotheistic, you don't even mention other gods at all. There's only one. Like in Islam would be monotheistic. They say Allahu Akbar. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah illallah rabbil alamin ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. He's the Malik yawm-ud-din. There's only one. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. There's only one deity in Islam. Christianity, they acknowledge other deities, but they worship one deity, which at the formation of this, the Roman Empire had the task of converting individuals who were already coming out of it's called Hellenistic. There we go. I just caught the word. Oh boy, Islam. Thank you for that. The Roman Empire was called, what was the Hellenistic period? In classic antiquity, the Hellenistic period covers the time of Mediterranean history after
check out these pictures.
Classical Greek between the death of Alexander the Great in 323. It's called the Hellenistic period. Ancient Rome was coming out of the Hellenistic period, going into a new era of belief. And because this was happening, it had to go through a lot of different council meetings to even reach that part. The classic antiquity and the Hellenistic period. You guys can see this. Covers the time in the Mediterranean history after classical Greek, between the death of Alexander the Great. He's not great. Alexander the Greek, even though he was a Macedonian, in 323 BC. This is before Christ, before Christianity, and the death of Cleopatra in 30 BC, which followed the ascendancy of the Roman Empire, as signified by the Battle of Actium in 31 BC. The Roman conquest of Ptolemaic Egypt in the following year, which eliminated the last major Hellenistic kingdom. Its name stemmed from ancient Greek Hella, which gradually recognized the name of Greece, from which early modern 19th century historiographical term Hellenistic was derived. Hellenistic period. You have to know that. So write that down. We're going to talk about Alexander the Greek also. And we don't have time, but you probably should write down Ptolemaic Empire, because the idea of this Jesus character goes back to him at the formation of Osirapis or Osirapis. Fuck it, I don't care. Let's deal with it. Let's deal with it. My computer trying to move slow. I don't know why. I'm being hated on. They hating on me, family. Watch this. The devotees of Serapis were called Christians. What were they called before they were called Christians? I didn't type that in. I typed in the devotees of Serapis. Originally, Christians weren't called Christians. They were called disciples, students of Jesus of Nazareth. That's, of course, the biblical answer. Watch this. This is during the time of Alexander, people. This is BC. Were the followers of Serapis called Christians? And Alexander, he related, there were those who worshiped Serapis, in fact, Christians, and those who called themselves bishops of Christ, in fact, devotees of Serapis. That's the Fourth Tyrant, Volume 8. And this is dealing with the temple of Serapis. Serapis Christos. These were Christians during the time of antiquity in the BC era under the Ptolemaic dynasty. The Ptolemaic dynasty was set up by way of Alexander the Greek. At the fall of the Hellenistic period, ushering in the next period of worship, which was henotheism, under the new, Constantine, the Roman emperor. And then the Roman emperor Constantine is going to give up his authority over to the Pope, which now gives the Pope the authority to rule. We'll get to that in a second. I'm just giving you the backstory of how the Greeks and the Romans are collaborating to raise up this newfound religion under what's called the Roman Catholic Church. This is why they're so powerful and so strong. They were legions of soldiers. Those Roman warriors, those Roman soldiers, they didn't put down their swords and just stop fighting. No, they were formatted into other organizations, such as the Knights of Malta. I'm going to show you in a second. The Knights of Malta and the Hospitallers. The Knight Templars are not in that era yet. The Knight Templars come after that. But these individuals become the Holy League, the expressive league of the Catholic Church, known as the Army of God, to go out and spread Christianity. What does this have to do with America? A lot. Actually, a lot. This is just at the cusp, at the beginning of it. Later, we'll talk about the Puritans who fled out of Europe and came to the colonies, and why they left Europe to come to the colonies, and the other individuals who came with them under what's called a pilgrimage, which is a holy Hajj. All right. So now we understand that the true Christians come out of the Greek Roman mindset by way of Egypt. These are the worshipers of Serapis. They were called Christians before Jesus even thought of this. This is BC time, by the way, family. BC era. All right. Let's move on. Let's get back to it. So, going back to Christianity becoming the official religion of the Roman Empire in 380 AD, just understand they went through a lot of litigation to get to this point. I mean, a lot to get there. They went through the Council of Nicaea 1, Nicaea 2. You're going to see it being led by Constantine. So make sure you keep Constantine in the back of your head as we go through this situation. But it became legal. It was the legal state religion in 380 AD. Let's move on. We also know about the Edict of Milan and what that did. In 380 AD, the Emperor Theodosius issued an edict of whatever that said, which made Christianity, specifically the Nicene Christianity, the official religion of the Roman Empire. Most other Christian sects were deemed heresy, lost their legal status, and had their properties confiscated by the Roman state. Could you imagine this shit? Because you choose not to believe in Christ the way they're telling you to believe in Christ, they come take your stuff. They made them convert into Catholicism. This is the cusp of, now, the Catholic Church or Catholicism just means universal. It's the universal church. I just want you guys to understand the preliminary steps they took to get to that point. And its entire army, this entire Roman legion turns into what we know as the Knight Templars, the Hospitallers, and so on and so forth. They are a conversion of soldiers. A conversion of soldiers who become the army of God. I promise you. I'm going to show you. All right. Let's move on. Now, next, what I want to deal with, I want to go into, and that does say the over 15th century Europe, 1400s. Now, and we went out of order too. We actually started with module 2. I apologize for that. Now let's go into module 1. But you know what? I apologize for that shit because I feel like we had to talk about module 2 first. I had to express to you guys just a little bit about the rise of Christianity in the Roman Empire before it even got to Europe, before it even came to Europe. See, Europe is not the Roman Empire. Europe is not the Roman Empire. Europe is not the Roman Empire. The Roman Empire resided in Italy, not in Europe. So now what we're going to see is the breakaway of the Roman Empire. The Eastern Orthodox Church and the Western Orthodox Church. You're going to see the formation of textbooks called the Bible, 1463. So let's write down 1463. Class, please. Write down 1463. You're going to write down Woodbridge, Germany. Woodbridge, Germany. 1463, Woodbridge, Germany. Who was Johannes Gutenberg? This is Johannes Gutenberg. Johannes Gutenberg was the first one, 1455, he used to print the Gutenberg Bible. You don't have a book. There is no book for Christianity yet. And in the 1400s, people in Europe could not read or write anyway. I just want to set up the pretext because we are going to talk about the King James Version in a minute. Write down the dates. Make a timeline. This is 1455, by the way. This is about, 30-something years prior to Columbus? 1492. Something like that. 1455. Gutenberg. Now, as we said before, outside of Gutenberg, you had other people involved with their Bible too. Erasmus published Nova Instrumentum. You had people like Desiderius Erasmus come out what's called in the 1516 and 1519, known as the Nova Instrumentum, a Nova Testamentum. They had to have a book behind this religion. There was no book called the Bible prior to 1455 it being printed. And there was no New Testament, Old Testament for the first time prior to 1516. Did not exist. Therefore, there was nothing to propagate. There was no religion to propagate. This is a holy war I'm talking about now. That's why it's titled the Conquest of the Army of God. There was no book yet. Let's move on. Let's go here. According to our outline, we should be here now. All right, this is 1493. It's called the Doctrine of Discovery. We know what happened in 1492. Columbus sailed the ocean blue and took all he saw. Some shit like that. I'm not sure. 1493 is called the Doctrine of Discovery. I'm pretty sure by now you guys have heard this 1,000 times. 1,000 times. The Doctrine of Discovery was a papal bull issued by Pope Alexander VI. But wait a minute. How do we get from let's back up, family. Let me hold up my roll up. We talked about the Edict of Milan. Let's look more into this situation right here. Constantine. Let me go back. I'm going too fast. I'm sorry. Write down the donation of Constantine. Now we have to talk about how the Pope even got the power in the first place, because at this period of time, only the emperor had the authority. Only the emperor had the power over the Roman Empire. Only the emperor, whatever sitting emperor that was, which at this time it was Constantine. Now Constantine does something real slick. Constantine gives up his donation, meaning he gives over his ecclesiastical authority over to a brother by the name of Sylvester I. Sylvester I baptizes Constantine at the Council of Ferrara because Constantine saw the image in the sky, and the image in the sky gave him the prognosis to now take the sanction off of Christians and become a Christian himself. But what it was a political strategy. It was a genius political strategy to rule the people this way versus the way Rome had been ruling people before. And it was to spread this new idealism. They wanted to push it globally. And I'm going to show you the ecclesiastical switch. And I'm going to show you how they got the authority to rule the world. But I'm also going to show you who the ruler of this world is. because we wrestle not against flesh, but the principalities of evil in high places. And I'm going to show you where they consecrated their authority from and how they became the rulers of the land, taking everything they surveyed, everything they saw. And we understand that the Europeans are the minority on the planet. How can a minority rule the majority of the planet? How is it even possible? How can the 1% rule the 99%? I'm going to show you. Donation of Constantine. Donation of Constantine is a forged Roman imperial decree by the 4th century Emperor Constantine the Great, the Greek. See how they try to make Alexander the Great, Constantine the Great. They're not great. They're not great. And you see that depiction over here where the Pope and the Emperor are exchanging power. See this hat right here? This is Constantine. This is the Pope. He's called a fry. That's hair's cut. He's called a fry. Later they'll be called bishops in different places, but mostly in Spain they're called fries with the haircut like this. Took a vow of celibacy and they're serving the Pope and so on and so forth. There's a whole situation behind that. All right. But this is Constantine the Greek, giving up his donation over to the Pope. This is how the Pope gained authority. Let's read about it. Supposedly transfer authority over Rome and the western part of the Roman Empire to the Pope. One more time. The donation of Constantine is a forged Roman imperial decree which by the 4th century Emperor Constantine the Great supposed transfer authority over to Rome and the western parts of the Roman Empire to the Pope. This is Roman Catholicism. This is the birth of Roman Catholicism as it ruled. Composed probably in the 9th century, it was used especially in the 13th century of the 1200s in support of claims of political authority by papacy. This is where the what's it called? The Doctrine of Discovery is going to come from. All right. This is a conflict. It was a conflict between the church and state in medieval Europe. See, in America, they separated church and state, remember? Over the ability to choose and install bishops and abbots. The monastery of the Pope himself, a series of popes from the 11th and 12th century, undercut the power of the Holy Roman Emperor. Who was the Holy Roman Emperor? So you have to, I know it's a lot. The Holy Roman Emperor is supposedly the king. The Pope is replacing the king. You see that? The Pope is replacing the king in this dynamic. So we're going to get too far off the mark. For your information, just write down the donation of Constantine. This is when Constantine gave up his political and ecclesiastical authority over to the Pope. Now the Pope became the HNIC. This is when the Pope became the HNIC under what was called the donation of Constantine. Now, when the Pope became the HNIC, this is when we get into everything else. This is called Christendom. Christendom. And we're still dealing with the Roman Empire. We have not left Rome yet. We're going to leave Rome in a second, but I have to set up the pretext where we're going. Christendom refers to Christian states, Christian majority countries, other countries in which Christianity is dominant or prevails. That's Christendom. Following the spread of Christianity in the Levant to Europe, North Africa during the Roman Empire, Christendom has been divided into pre-existing Greek East and Latin West. Consequently, internal sects within Christian religion arose to their own beliefs and practices, centered around the city of Rome. Western Christianity, whose community was called Western or Latin Christendom. Somebody in the comments said that earlier. And Constantinople, Eastern Christianity, whose communities were called Eastern Christendoms. From the 11th to 13th century, Latin Christendom rose in the central role of Western world. Latin Christendom. You're going to see Latin Christendom come into places like Spain, coming to places like Portugal, coming to places like Haiti, coming to places like Puerto Rico, coming to places like Florida, Mexico, and so on and so forth. This is Latin Christendom. Rose in the center of the Western world. We are the Western world, which was influenced the most by what's called Latin Christendom in the Western world. The history of Christianity spans for about 2,000 years and includes a variety of social, political development, as well as advancements in arts, architecture, literature, science, and philosophy. Their terminology, Anglo-Saxon. Those are two different tribes who decided to join, the Anglicans and the Saxons. Two different. They got together though. The Anglo-Saxon term Christendom appears to have been coined in the 9th century, the 800s, by some scribes somewhere in southern England, possibly at the courts of Alfred the Great of Wexford. The scribes transliterated Paulus Oranus, book history against the pagans in 416. And in need for a term to express the concept of universal culture focused on Jesus Christ, it had the sense now to taken by Christianity. It says, as is still the case with cognitive Dutch Christendom, where it denotes mostly the religion itself, just like the German Christendom. The current sense of the word lands where Christianity is dominant religion emerged in late Middle Ages, the 1400s. Now, what are our takeaways from this? The takeaways, so you guys know that there's something called Christendom, and Christendom is the conquest. It's the spread of the religion through conquest. As you can see in this map right here, everything that's blue, you see that it's dark blue, 90 to 100%. I told you it was mostly in the islands, like I just said earlier. These are the early colonies. The dark blue spots in the picture are the early. Let me blow it up for y'all so you can see it real big. These are the places that were mostly settled early 1500s by these guys right here. See, this is Spain right here. See that dark spot? That's Spain. This is Africa. This area right here is mostly where Morocco is, mostly still heavily sedated with Islam. The lighter blue places right here is heavily influenced by Islam. Over here is India, Buddhism. Some Christianity does exist in these areas, but not like the heavily dark places where colonies were set up. These are colonial areas right here. Now you want to see the dark places right here because this is later. See that 80 to 90%. These are 90 to 100% Roman Catholics in these areas right here. That's all I explained to you guys earlier. This is called Christendom. This is the conquest. This is the conquesting of it. These are the conquistadors. The conquesting of Christianity. Let's talk more about the Christian Empire. Let's talk more about the Christian Empire. What was the first Christian empire? Constantine I was the first Christian emperor of Rome. It was not until decades after he died that Christianity became the official religion of the empire. Ruling from 379 to 395, Emperor Theodosius I was the first emperor to decree that all citizens should be Christians. We haven't left Rome yet. We can all agree that Christianity was established in Rome. It's an ancient Roman practice. Let's keep going. Constantine. How did Constantine even spread this idea? Legend has it before the Crusades, the crucial battle, before the crucial battle in 312 CE, the Roman Emperor Constantine the Great dreamt that he saw a cross in the sky and heard a voice said, "By this sign shall thou conquer." This is what supposedly Constantine had heard, which then forcibly made him go get baptized at the Council of Ferrara. At the Council of Ferrara, when he got baptized, Constantine became what's known as a Christian. But I showed you guys, Christians had already pre-existed in BC time frame as worshipers or devotees of Serapis. So what Constantine was cranking up something called Christendom. See, earlier Christians in the BC era under the worship of Serapis, they weren't trying to conquer nothing. It was a form of practice. It wasn't even that dogmatic yet. So you have to get through the different council meetings, like the Council of Nicaea 1 and 2, the Council of Ephesus, the Council of Chalcedon, the Council of Leucida, the Council of Ferrara, and many of the council meetings before the Roman European world begins to shape the idea of Christianity and begin to forcibly put it in the minds of those who dwelt in that area. And those who chose not to convert, they were killed. Land was taken. They were forcibly converted. And here in a second, in 1492, 93, when we go down to Spain, we're going to leave Italy in a second, go to Spain. Those who were called Mohammedans or Mohammedans were Moors. Those who were called Moors were forcibly converted to Christianity as well and were relabeled as Moriscos. Legend has it before the crucial battle in 312 CE, the Roman Emperor Constantine, the Greek, dreamt that he saw a cross in the sky and heard the voice by saying, "By this sign thou shalt conquer." What did it look like? I wondered. I'm gonna show you what it looked like. Where is it at? This is what Constantine the Great saw. See, this is the image. En hoc signo vince. The Latin phrase conventionally translated to the English, "In this sign thou shalt conquer." See, Constantine was about to use Christianity to conquer some shit. This was a conquest. This was not about spreading the good gospel of Jesus Christ. This had nothing to do with Jesus Christ and spreading his word and being devotees of Jesus Christ. Nothing to do with that. Christendom was about conquesting land grabs. And once the Pope and the kings decided to work together, this is when you get all the conquering forces coming out of Europe, coming westward to take over the Americas. Before they could do that, they had to have a doctrine. That doctrine gave them great discovery. It gave them rights. It gave them certain abilities to just take shit. And I'm going to show you in the outline of the edict that was put forth by Pope Alexander VI. But in order for Pope Alexander VI to even have the authority, I have to show y'all how his authority derived, or where his authority derived from. His authority derived from the Roman emperors prior. How did Rome get the power, you ask? Well, that's a whole nother 2-day conversation about how Rome came. Actually, Rome had political power by way of their Senate. The Roman Empire was mostly protected and side up by other individuals. And you guys hear me say this a lot. So the Roman Empire didn't have all the power that history gives them. They mostly had power through other outlets like the German Gothic individuals, the Visigoths and the Vandals were basically their hitchmans outside of the empire to keep everybody at bay. Okay? In this sign, we shall conquer. This is what Alexander the Greek say he saw. Now, here's what it looks like today. Everybody see this? Y'all see that? In hoc signo vince. Now we're going to talk about the Hospitallers and the Knights of Malta. Now we're going to talk about the rising army of Christendom and how they begin to perpetuate and spread the idea of conquest. In hoc signa events. And what makes it crazy is, I'm going to go back to this. I'm sure it's right here. This is the crazy part. These let me see. These Negro Masons, and I can say that because I was in an organization at one time too. These Negro Masons are posing beside Constantine's edict. They even got the uniforms on. They got the uniforms on. You see the uniforms? These are knights. These are knights. En hoc signa events. Knight Templars. The poor fellows of Christ. So now you see why people say that the Freemasons are involved. That's that cross with the crown in it. Now, in the Christian church, that cross and crown says King Jesus. No, this is the conquesting. This is Christendom. Christendom. We're taking over. We got the soldiers. We got the firepower. We're taking over. Look at these black fools up here. Now, see, I've never went through the degree of Knight Templar. I have the degree. I earned the degree. I knew all about the degree when I was even in the order. But because I understood the history of the degree of KT, we call it KT, I never went through the degrees of Knight Templar. I got my purple house, which is the cryptic. I'm a Shriner. I'm a 32nd, a 43rd, and a 90th degree Mason. But I never went through this degree. After I learned the dark history of this Flugeroid, Constantine the Greek, and I understood the full history behind it, I'm not putting it on my body, man. Y'all crazy. Y'all are crazy. Y'all are crazy. Once I learned the history of what this symbol meant, and see, in this sign we should conquer. That's what he said. He done conquered the minds of these black Negroes. Oh boy. Boy, it's so much, family. It's so much, man. Let's keep it moving. Hold on, let me close out some of my windows real quick. The Hospitallers. These are called the Hospitallers. Let's read about these knights first. And as we read about these different armies of God, and when I say army of God, family, I'm talking about governmental ordnance department, gold, oil, what is it? Gold, oil, and drugs, or gold, oil, and diamonds. The conquesting. The conquestadors. The conquesting. The Knight Hospitallers, the Order of the Knight Hospitallers of St. John of Jerusalem, commonly known as the Knights Hospitallers, is a Catholic military order. That's right, of the Catholic Church. They have their own order. Now, pay attention to this symbol right here. It looks like 4 arrows together. Look at that symbol right there. Look at that symbol. Look at this cross. Then there's other variations of cross. These are called the coat of arms. The coat of arms and the 8-pointed cross used by the Hospitallers during the Crusades. Allegiance to who? Allegiance to who? The allegiance was to the Pope. Hold on. Get all this in here real quick. Their allegiance to the Pope. The Pope is the Bishop of Rome and the visible head of the worldwide Catholic Church. He is also known as the Supreme Pontiff, Roman Pontiff, of the Sovereign Pontiff. Since the 8th century, the Pope is the head of the state or sovereign of the Papal State. And we know why the 8th century now, don't we? We just learned about Constantine, learned about the Edict of Milan. Now we understand why the 8th century, this transfer of power between Constantine giving up his donation over to the Pope and making the Pope now the ecclesiastical head of the Holy Roman Empire. Coat of arms. Remember this photograph right here. Remember those two red images right there. It was founded in the Crusader, in the Crusader state, or four Catholic. It's the four Catholic pilots. It exists from 1098 to 1291, following the principles of feudalism. The foundation of these polities was laid out from the First Crusade, which proclaimed by the Latin Church in 1095. Kingdom of Jerusalem. This is called the Crestorian Cross, family. It's called the Crestorian Cross. One big cross with four crosses around it. That's called a Crestorian Cross. Crestorian Cross. We're talking about the Order of the Hospitallers right now, okay? In case you're just tapping in. The Hospitallers arose in the early 12th century. That's going to be 1100s. So for the Hospitallers, write down 1100 for the Hospitallers. Write down 1100 for the Hospitallers. All right. Now let's go to another group. Knights of Malta. These are the Knights of Malta. The Sovereign Military Order of Malta, officially Sovereign Military Hospitallers, Order of the Saints, John's and Jerusalem, of Rhodes and Malta, commonly known as the Order of Malta. Look at their coat of arms. Is a Catholic lay religious order, traditionally of military, chivalric, and noble nature. Though it possesses no territory, the order is often considered a sovereign entity under international law. The order claims continuity with the Knight Hospitallers and was founded in 1099. So you have 1100s for the Knights of the Hospitallers. The Knights of Malta was 1099. So you can say really around the same time, because 1100 was after 1099. And blessed by Gerard in the Kingdom of Jerusalem. The order led by elected prince and grand master. The motto was defense of the faith to assist the poor. The order venerated the Virgin Mary as the patrons under the title of Our Lady Philomores. The order membership included about 13,500 knights, dames, and chaplains. 33 of these are professed religious knights of justice. 33 degrees. 33 of these are professed of religious knights of justice. So we have the Hospitallers, we have the Knights of Malta. Now we're going to talk about the Knight Templars. These are the army of God. This is his army. I'm going to show you who God is in a second. Now talk about the Knight Templars. Now the Knight Templars, or the poor fellows. They were active from 1119 to 1312. So all these groups came up around the same time, 1100s. Their headquarters was in Jerusalem, under the Kingdom of Jerusalem. Their nickname was called the Order of Solomon's Temple of Christ. We're not talking about Solomon of the Bible either. Solomon ben Isaac. I'm going to show you in a second. Those are the wars. They love fighting. This is the symbol of the Knight Templars. And the symbol of the Hospitallers is a little bit different from there. Remember, the The symbol of the Hospitallers had the 4 arrows. This is the Knight Templar symbol. They enforced papal bulls. These are all the papal bulls that they enforced. This one was issued by Pope Innocent II on 29th of March. That endorsed the Order of the Poor Knights of Christ and the Temples of Solomon, in which the Templars rule officially approved. It's another one. The papal bull issued by Pope Celestius II. The militia. These are all papal bulls. We're going to talk about papal bulls in a second, about what they are. The poor fallow soldiers of Christ of the Temple of Solomon, mainly known as Knight Templars, was a French military order of Catholics. So the Catholics are going to go from Europe to Rome to France to Spain. The global theater, operating theater for Catholicism is mainly those places. England, Spain, Portugal, what we call today France, we call today Italy, and Greece. Watch this paragraph. Officially endorsed by the Roman Catholic Church, such as the Creed, as the Papal Bull, Ontum Dontum Umponent, was a Papal Bull, but yeah, that's what we just read. Pope Innocent, the Templars became a favorable charitable throughout Christendom. That's the global theater of Christianity. The global influence and spread of Christianity was done by way of military might, not knocking on doors, passing out Bibles, and grew rapidly in membership and power. The Templar Knights and their distinctive white mantles and red crosses were amongst the most skilled fighting units of the crusade. So they were more skilled. They were way more skilled than the Hospitallers. They were more skilled than the Knights of Malta. They had more skills. They were prominent in Christian finance. Non-combative members of the order, who made up much as 90% of their membership, managed large economic infrastructure throughout Christendom. They developed innovative financing techniques, and they were in the early form of banking, building a network of nearly 1,000 commanderies and fortifications across Europe and the Holy Land. So they were put in place as administrative support for Christendom. Look at the Knight Templars as the administrative support for the spread of Christendom. All right. And they were ran by the Pope also. See, the Pope. He shows up in all three of these. This is God. That's right. The Pope is God. Let that settle in for a second. The Pope is God. Prove my point. The Pope is the vicar of Christ. The Pope is referred to as the vicar of Christ on earth because he is seen as the earthly representative of Jesus Christ and stands in his place. If you go stand in place of something, let's say an authority figure, let's say police. Let's just say police, for example. You are given the delegated authority to act and perform as a police. You remember when we was in school and the teacher left the classroom and put somebody in classroom in charge? All right, Darren, you're in charge while I'm gone. Anything Darren said, it was as if the teacher said it, because she gave Darren, the student, her delegated authority to speak on her behalf. The Pope is Jesus. Remember I showed you earlier the formation of this Jesus character out of something called Christianity. Remember the dyophysitic and the Monophysites who couldn't really quite agree on the nature of Christ. Now, we didn't talk about the Council of Chalcedon. The Council of Chalcedon, let's go there for a second. We're going to come back to this, but remember this right here. Bookmark this point, because now I'm going to show you how the Pope got his authority. Yeah, the class monitor. Thank you. I'm going to show you how the Pope got his authority. See, once we learn how the Pope gained his authority, Now we talk about the 1493 Doctrine of Discovery under the consecration of Pope Alexander VI. Now it makes sense on why he said what he said, because he's deriving his authority from Christ, their God. This is why Noble Drew Ali taught you have to return Christianity in the church back to Europeans, because they created this shit for their salvation. They created the Council of Nicaea 1 and 2. They created the Council of Chalcedon. They created a whole creature named Jesus out of thin air under the Council of Chalcedon. They created the creature named Mary out of the Council of Ephesus. They created this stuff, family. Constantine created this shit. Alexander the Greek, Ptolemy, they created it. They made it up. They made it up. This old Flugeroid ain't got no authority for real. None. He's a regular person like you are. But because of the institution of Christianity, the institution of it, the slaughtering, the manipulation, the word magic, the gospel or the ghost spells that are placed on our people. Every Sunday, our people go to the pulpit, to the altar, to make sacrifice at the altar, and they give up all of their authority and power over to this entity that's named Jesus Christ. And they don't even know that Jesus Christ is on earth in the form of a person. So if the Pope can lay claim to be Jesus Christ in person, and the whole Catholic Church goes along with that idea, what makes you think that Noble Drew Ali can't be our prophet? What makes you think that Rasulullah Muhammad wa alayhi salam is not the prophet? What makes you think that Marcus Mosiah Garvey is not the prophet? What makes you think that anybody that has came to our people during a time to give us a word before the great and dreadful day is not sent by God? These white people know this ain't Jesus, but they all agree whoever sits in this seat is Christ on earth right now, not 2,000 years ago, right now. The Pope is referred to as the Vicar of Christ. Latin phrase Vicar Christus has been used in different ways throughout history. The original idea of vicar is someone who acts as a representative, but the term can also refer to a parish priest who fills in for another person. In Catholicism, now I've shown you the army of God, the Knights of Malta, the Knight Templars. We get into the Knights of Columbus and the Pythians. We talk about none of them at all. But everybody I talked about, the Knight Templars, the Hospitallers, the Knights of Malta, this is their boss man right here. This is their boss. They take orders from him. He has his own private army. And there was a time in history where these individuals did his bidding under different papal bulls and mandates. They did his bidding. They did whatever this clown said go do. Whatever he said go do, they went and did it. The Pope has the ecclesiastical authority. How big is the Roman Catholic Church? The Pope stands in place of Jesus himself as the Vicar of Christ on earth. Now, I want you to go ask your Christian friends, who's Christ right now on earth, and see what they say. Ask any of your Christian friends, who is Christ right now? Oh, he died on the cross. He's coming back. He's coming back. He's already here in the form of a person. So in the Nation of Islam, when they say the Honorable, what's his name? Farad Muhammad is God in person, and you twitch your eye up at that. When we make claim that we have our God here, we look crazy at each other. But these flugeroids all have agreed. They all have agreed unanimously. Whoever sits in that seat is Jesus. The Pope stands in the place of Jesus himself. How can you do that? How, y'all? Somebody answer me. Talk about how can you sit in the place of the Most High? Seems almost impossible, don't it? But it's possible. So now when mama and grandma them run up to that altar, you know who they worshiping. Now you know who grandma them really worshiping right now. They worshiping a damn flugeroid. Now you see why. Watch this. Hold on. African schism. Watch this. All I said was African schism. Hold on. Teach y'all something right quick. This is known as the Dantonist Schism. This schism began in 311 in the Western North African between supporters of Majorius and Silenius, the Bishop of Carthage. The Donatists, led by Donatus, broke with the Roman Catholics and opposed Silenius because he was willing to allow those who had lapsed during the dyophysitic persecution to repent. The Donatists also believed that Christian clergy must be without fault in their ministry to be effective, and that their prayers and sacraments must be valid. The schism had both doctrine and social causes, and Donatists survived until extinction of Christianity in North Africa in the early European Middle Ages. It's called the Donatist schismatic controversy. Dantonism. They challenge the Christian church. They challenge the Catholic Church. They challenge the Roman Catholic Church. See, that's why they had to have all these council meetings, because a lot of this shit was not making sense to people. Earlier on, it wasn't making sense to the people. Council of Chalcedon. The Council of Chalcedon. This is the Council of Chalcedon, or Chalcedon. It was the fourth meeting, ematical, ecclesiastical. When you see those words, we're dealing with religion. It was the fourth ematical council meeting of the Christian church. It was invoked by Roman Emperor Marcion. The council convened at the city of Chalcedon, northern Turkey. In 451, the council was attended by over 520 African bishops. We have to keep in mind at 451, Europe, as we know it, boy, there was in shambles. So this isn't Europe. Remember psychonegrosis, because we've been taught to think a certain way. Every time we talk about Rome, the Roman Empire, our mind goes into Europe. We're not in Europe. We're in Greece, and we're in Rome, which is not a part of Europe. I know we've been taught that, but it's not. No Britons, no English people are down here yet. These are Romans. If you know your history, the Romans and the Greeks are actually from the island of Crete. And they come from a whole other civilization of people. They're not from the Anglicans or the Saxons or the Pits or the Jutes or the Kurds. And those English tribes, they're not from there. The council meeting was attended by 520 African bishops or their representatives, marking this the largest, best documented of the first 7 ematical council meetings. The principle of the purpose of this council meeting to reassert the teaching of the ematical council of Ephesus. The council of Ephesus made Mary the Theotokos, against the teaching of Eutychius. Eutychius was another person that went against the church. Nestorius was another person that went against the whole situation. Such doctrine was viewed. Christ, they argue over the divination of Christ. Was he human or was he God? This part was not figured out in 451 AD. So when Christians talk about God, Jesus was, oh no, he wasn't. They had to figure it out first. They had to come up with the lie together. Council of Ephesus. Was he separate, Nestorian, or they viewed Christ as solely divine, Monophysite? See that thing again? Remember Monophysite and diophysites? There was two different groups of individuals, diophysitic and monophysitic individuals. They was trying to convince the population that Jesus was both God and man. This was the Eastern Orthodox Church, mostly Greek. The Western Orthodox Church is the English Church, the Anglican Church. That's called the Western Orthodox Church. All right. Let's deal with it real quick, and we're gonna move on. The ruling of the council state, we all teach harmoniously that he is, Jesus, the same perfect in Godhead, the same perfect in manhood, truly God and truly man, the same of the reasonable soul and body, harmonious. This is a cool thing. This was stated in the Nicene Creed. It's the Christian theological term most notable used in the Nicene Creed for the describing of Jesus as the same in being and the same essence with God the Father. When you see me, you see God. They're trying to make Jesus God in this form right here. So when you see the Pope is God, the Pope is Jesus on earth, that makes the Pope bipartisan God himself, because they agreed in this creed that Jesus is God. And your grandma believed that too. And your old aunties believe that too. And your daddy believed that. And your granddaddy believed that. And everybody over the age of 45 in your family, even younger, they believe that Jesus is God. But they don't know that this was taught. It had to be created. It was a created idea under the Nicene Creed. It's also known as the Homoousian Creed. That's homoousious. The Homoousian Creed, or the Nicene Creed, taught people and condemned anybody who didn't rock with it that Jesus is both God and man. Okay? This is what this is. The dual nature. All throughout Christianity and Christendom. While this judgment marked a significant turning point of Christological debate, it also generated heated disagreement between the Council of the Oriental Orthodox Church, who did not agree with such conduct or proceeding. This disagreement would later inform the separation of the Oriental Orthodox Church, which is the Eastern Orthodox Church, and the Western Orthodox Church. There would be a split in between the church because of this idea. You can't make this man both God and man at the same time. What the hell are y'all doing? Y'all can't make him both God and man at the same time. This is called the Council of Ephesus. Council of Chalcedon. Apologize. The Council of Chalcedon. The council's other responsibility included addressing controversy dealing with issues such as ecclesiastical discipline and jurisdiction, approving statements of belief such as creeds of Nicaea. And the Nicene Creed was God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Ghost. That's the Nicene Creed. That's how it goes. It's also known as the Homoousian Creed. You took this creed in church without even understanding what you was talking about. It was also called the Creed of Constantinople, 381. All known as the Nicene Creed. Check. Are we all following that? The Council of Chalcedon. Let's continue. So all this stuff is coming out of the conquesting of Christianity under the consecration of the Pope. I went through all that just to explain the plight of who Jesus is in the Catholic Church and how the Pope actually sits in the authoritative seat of Jesus while he's not here. But in the Catholic Church head, Jesus is seen as God. So therefore, the Pope is seen as God himself on earth. So where does all this lead to? I've been talking for almost 2 hours. Where is all this leading to, minister? Where is all this? Like, what is the point of all this? why did you sit here for an hour and a half and tell us all this history about the Pope and Alexander VI and how the Pope got his power and all that crap, and the Pope is really Jesus, who's really God on earth? Because this makes this part of the lecture easy now. This part becomes easier now. We talk about the Doctrine of Discovery. And the Doctrine of Discovery coincides with the Western expansion. Once they get to North America, Manifest Destiny, you can see a little white angel floating through. Let me show you what I'm talking about. The Doctrine of Discovery and Manifest Destiny are under the same idea. Manifest Destiny doctrine. Let's look at the picture first. See how they got their little white angel floating through the sky? Because these Europeans really think that their God is like their God is whatever God they got, what they got it going on. You have to admit that, family. You have to. I don't care how much you don't like them. You have to admit whatever they dealing with and whatever they believing in, they got it going on because they really believe this shit. Like they really believe it. Now this is the picture from North America. This is like the 1849 gold rush during the time of Western expansion. If you guys are my age, you guys remember it's an old game called the Oregon Trail. This is the Oregon Trail. Now, prior to 1849 and after that, Europeans did not go out west. They were not allowed to go out west. The reason that they can do Manifest Destiny under doctrine is under what was called the Treaty of Paris. Treaty of Paris. And there were several treaties of Paris, a couple of them actually. The Treaty of Paris signed September 3rd, 1783 by the United States and Great Britain to end the American Revolution. The treaty was negotiated by American Representative John Adams, Ben Franklin, and John Jay, who were all agents, who were all able to achieve many of the new nation objectives. The treaty's key provided recognition of independence. Britain officially recognized the United States as an independent country. Western territory was now given to the 13 colonies for them to go expand and be 48 colonies. The treaty granted the U.S. a large amount of Western territory, Mississippi River and the western border boundaries. The treaty also established their other boundaries with a law for future American expansion. How did they get the authority to issue out all this land with people already on it? That should be your question. Who told them to do that? Who told them they can do that? Who told these people that they can come over here and just divvy up land like that? Treaty of Paris, 1898. The war officially ended. This is the Spanish-American War, by the way. The war officially ended 4 months after. Now, 1763, they was about to get crunk up to start going out west. They had to go through a lot of Indian territory to fight them Indians because France had owned some stuff between the Ohio River, Mississippi River, Spain owned Florida, Spain owned Alabama, Spain owned New Orleans, and Spain owned half of Texas. Spain sold Louisiana to France, and France sold Louisiana territory back to America. Don't get it twisted. The war officially ended 4 months later when the U.S. and Spanish government signed the Treaty of Paris on December 10th, 1898, apart from guaranteeing the independence of Cuba. The treaty also forced Spain to succeed Guam and Puerto Rico to the United States because you know why? Ponce de Leon was the governor of Puerto Rico, or what's called Rich Port in Spain. That's how you get St. Augustine in Florida. Look up the history of St. Augustine in Florida. That all belonged to Spain. So now we understand a little bit of the nature. Watch this. Let me show you something else how they divided up land too. And you're like, how they just taking land? I'm gonna show you how they just took land. Anybody from Carolina in the chat? North Carolina, South Carolina? Go look up the Carolina Charter. The Royal Charter of 1663. There was no South Carolina and North Carolina and Georgia, Mississippi. It was all one territory. The Royal Charter of 1663 was documented and granted by King Charles II of England to the colony of Rhode Island and Providence Plantation. It allowed settlers in Rhode Island to govern their own colony and guarantee the individual freedoms and rights. That's the Rhode Island one. South Carolina, King Charles again. South Carolina, part of the original province of Carolina. This was all one situation. There was no North and South Carolina, just like there wasn't no Virginia and West Virginia. It was all one territory. You can't be confused by the demarcation lines. I know we look at maps and see those little white lines dividing out states. That's part of your psychonegrosis. There are no white lines on the ground dividing states. Those are chartered territories. And those chartered territories are under the dominion of the Crown of England. I don't care how you want to look at it, what kind of Moorish story you want to tell, because I'm going to show you how the Moors lost the whole empire. This was an empire over here under Moorish rule. But the Anglican Empire was a little bit more dirtier, a little bit more shisty than those Moors, way more shisty. And some of those Moors actually partnered with those Europeans to help overthrow the empire over here too. So all this land, this large land grab I'm talking about right now, is in mild comparison to how they started to grab land thereafter. Remember the Trail of Tears, right? There was a land grab. That's all that was. Once Andrew Jackson, Colonel Andrew Jackson, wasn't general yet, after the War of 1812, because your boy James Oglethorpe kept having issues with getting these natives off the land. They had already tried to trick teeth. Watch this. Hold on, because y'all get me fucking excited now. Now I'm going in. But if you're from Carolina, please look up the South Carolina Charter of 1663 under King Charles II, when he gave land to 8 noblemen known as the Lord Proprietors. Lord Proprietors. I'm gonna show you what a I'm just gonna read it out. A Lord Proprietor. A Lord Proprietor, people, is like a governor. A Lord Proprietor is a person granted a royal charter for establishment and government of an American colony in the 17th century. So these royal charters were being passed out by the dozen by King Charles II. The question you have to ask yourself, how did King Charles II even get access to this land in the first place? Who gave him the authority to come over here and take this shit? Who? Who gave Spain the authority to come over here? Who gave any of these European nations the authority to bring a funky diseased butts over here? Who? How? I don't know where, who, or what. Who, what, where? Let's find out. Let's find out how these European nations got their ecclesiastical authority. Where their authority derived from. But first, let's go here. Hold on, put one back up. Let's go back here. How many voyages did Columbus make to the Americas? Let's deal with this right quick. Christopher Columbus made 4. Columbus made 4 voyages over here. Did y'all hear about these 4 voyages? Because in school, we just learned about the 1492 one. Does anybody in the audience recall hearing about Columbus multiple times to the Americas? Anybody? If you've heard of Columbus, I'm not talking about prior to coming on Crumb TV and listening to Crumb, listening to myself, or anybody in the country community. I mean when you was in high school. Press 111 if you learned in high school Columbus came over 4 times. Press 000 if you've never heard of this shit outside of school.
Hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right.
Columbus came over here 4 times. 1492, 1504, between 1492 and 1504, he came in 92, 93, 96, and 1500 and 1502. He came a couple times. Do you know why? The first time he came, people, was just a scout mission. It was just a scout mission. Columbus voyage are sponsored by who? Catholics, the Catholic Church, under the consecration of the King, under the consecration of the Pope. I'm gonna show you which Pope. We're gonna read this letter out loud together. What the Pope said they come over here and do too, and then maybe you won't be so puzzled to understand. Like, wait a minute, how they get the land? Like, did we fight back? Yeah, it was a 100-year Indian War. Who's fighting their ass? Who's fighting? Who's scrapping? They just overwhelmed us with this diseases and crap like that. Like they were nasty people. Columbus voyages were sponsored by the Catholic monarchs. Monarchs means king and queen. The particular monarchs talking about are the House of Castile and the House of Aragon. There's Queen Isabella and King Ferdinand. I'm going to keep saying it. I'm going to keep saying it until I drill it in your damn head about what happened. Of Spain, the primary took place in the Caribbean, including the Bahamas, Cuba, Santo Domingo, and Jamaica. Final 2 voyages included the coast of Eastern Central America and Northern South America. He did not come to North America. Columbus didn't come to Florida. Columbus didn't come to Georgia. Columbus didn't come to Savannah. He didn't come to South Carolina. He didn't come to North Carolina. He didn't come to Virginia. He didn't come to New Jersey. He didn't come to Philly. He didn't come to New York. He didn't come to Boston. He didn't come to Rhode Island. None of those colonies he came to. None of them. So can we please stop with the transatlantic slave trade of North America? Please stop that nonsense. Oh, but minister, they did bring Africans. Okay, I'm going to keep asking y'all this question. When did they bring Africans to North America? I'm not talking about the little 22 Africans they brought to Fort Comfort, Virginia, and Hampton. Not them 20 people, because they didn't do nothing. Not those people. When was boatloads of Africans brought to North America from Africa? Never. There's no record of it. When? Because whatever date you give me, they brought Africans over here, I'm going to line up an Indian war that was happening at the same time. There couldn't have been slavery during the war. Remember the Civil War? They had to flat out end slavery in order to fight the war. And secondly, what were these Africans doing in North America in 16 anything or 17 anything? What were they doing? What was the industry at that time frame? It was only 9 colonies, maybe 8 colonies. Georgia comes alongside a little bit later. You don't get the Carolinas to 1663. When were they here? There's no record of it. That's when. But we do have records of Africans coming out of Africa going into the Caribbean, Haiti, going to South America digging for gold. And we do know right now in 2024, the most African heavily dense population is Brazil per capita. There are more Africans in South America than North America by the millions. But so many came over here, though, supposedly. Let's cut the malarkey. Columbus' voyage was sponsored by the Catholic monarchs of Spain, primarily took place in the Caribbean, including the Bahamas, Cuba, Santo Domingo, and Jamaica. His final 2 voyages also include the coast of Eastern Central America and Northern South America. Columbus' voyages led to widespread knowledge of the New World and marked the beginning of the Age of Discovery. Let's scroll down a little bit, because now we're about to land this plane. Columbus' voyage led to widespread knowledge of the New World and marked the beginning of the Age of Discovery. This period saw the colonization of the Americas, the transatlantic slave trade, and biological exchange, which are often considered to be the start of modern era of the modern era. Although Columbus' goal was to find direct water route west of Europe to Asia, he instead stumbled upon the Americas. He did not discover the New World, as millions of people have already lived here. He did not discover the New World, as millions of people already lived here, but his journeys paved the way for centuries of exploration and colonization. Thank you. Here we go. Here we go. What was the Doctrine of Discovery? Now we deal with the Doctrine of Discovery, also known as the Indica Terra. This is 1493. Columbus sailed the ocean blue in 92, 93. Columbus was just an agent. He was coming back, bringing information back to Spain. Shortly after European colonizers first encountered the indigenous population of the Americas in 1492, that'll be Columbus then, they returned armed with the policy issued by Pope Alexander VI in 1493, which claimed that any land, anywhere, not under the flag of the sovereign Christian nation would be taken by whoever discovered it. Christendom. And this gave rise to the army of God. This gave rise to the army of God. This gave rise to the army of God. The Maltas, the Hospitallers, the Conquistadors, that whole trained regiment they had since the 1100s. There was no wars to be fought in Europe in 14 nothing. They came over here to fight. The same as our military veterans who was in Desert Storm and Desert Shield. When they do their tour after the war is over with, they go join the police force. They go join the SWAT team. They go join these other expeditionary units because they can't help it. They want to fight. They want to kill. They want to slaughter something. The Pope said, "Hey, we have thousands of soldiers and descendants of these noblemen who we can go send to fight." You never heard about the army. You never heard about the army. You never asked yourself, what kind of ships was the Ninta, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria? What kind of ships were those? What kind of ships were those? That's my question for y'all. What type of ships was the Ninta, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria? Who gave Columbus them damn ships, and where they get the ships from? Were those the slave ships they're talking about? Those cargo ships? Those gun ships? Were the ones? This is how they took the land. They usurped the land we know as North America, South America, and Central America under ecclesiastical authority from the Pope. We now know the Pope is also who? Jesus, who is also who? God, who also has what? Dominion over what? The entire earth. How do they rule? Let me show you this right quick. See that image in his hand? Right here. Let me see if I can find a better picture. Here we go, right here. Our Cash App. Our Cash App. Anybody that can give me the name. Nah, fuck the name. Anybody that can tell me what she got in her hand. I mean, tell me about it. That object she got in her hand, in the comments, what is this object? Not just only what is it, what does it mean? Who knows what it is? That ain't it. Keith. What's your Cash App, Keith? Keith, give me your Cash App, brother. I'm gonna send you some love tonight. Put your Cash App in the comment. He was the first one that I saw with it. Of course, everybody got things that are closely similar, but he was the first one that I saw, family, with it. Okay, Keith, drop your Cash App in the comment, bro. I got you. Quint, you're absolutely right. Over the world, but not just the world, family. Our world, Earth, earthly dominion. Earthly dominion. Earthly dominion. If you've been on Chrome TV, you know we have covered this several times. Several times we've talked about this. Several times. That right there. See, I told you these Europeans. Hold on, Keith. Let me lock you in, bro. Give me 1 second. I gotta write it down. All right, I got you, bro. Appreciate participating. This symbol right here represents Earth. Represents Earth. What the Catholic Church or what the Europeans have done. Watch this. This is how the Pope gets his authority. This is how the Pope gets his authority. Here it is right here. You guys have to start being more visual. How many of y'all have seen this right here before? On top of a church. You can't miss it on top of a church. It's on top of a church. And the church, these churches are on the corner. Man, take notice, family, of even in your city. When you're downtown somewhere, or wherever you ride in your town, you see one of those big old churches. I'm not talking about those raggedy black churches. I'm talking about those new age warehouse looking. I mean, the old bricks and stone churches. That's usually a Presbyterian, Methodist church. Not no Methodist AME Zion. That's black people. Not that. The old Methodist church, Presbyterian church. Look at the top of the steeple. You're gonna see a ball with a cross on top. That's the dominion. That's the kingdom in the dominion. And because there's a church on every single corner in all 48 states of America, the Catholic Church and the monarch has ecclesiastical authority of her colonies at all times. They give you the illusion of inclusion. Remember how they took Puerto Rico under the Treaty of Paris? Where do you think the IRS is at? It's not in the 48 states. It's in Puerto Rico. Why it's outside of the territory of the 48 states, 48 colonies? Jurisdictional matters. See, they operate over jurisdictional authority. And they claim dominion over the jurisdiction, over the land. And you ain't gonna do nothing. What you gonna do? Oh, we went and bought us some land. A couple of Negroes got together and we went and bought our 40 acres. You don't own that land, family. At any given time, the U.S. government they can claim what's called what? What's the word? What's the word? The government can use to take your land at any time they want to. What's the word I'm looking for, family? Give me that word. There's a word that they can take your land. Now, they'll offer you money for the land at first because they got to play ball nicely. But they'll take your shit. Like Debo. Thank you. Thank you. Under dominion authority. Thank you. Eminent domain. This is their dominion. That's what that means. This is their dominion. This is their dominion. They have rulership and dominion. Watch this. If you don't believe me, watch this. Because I already told you that they have ecclesiastical jurisdiction. Remember? See, these white boys not playing with y'all. Y'all want to, I'm sovereign and Islam and hey, they're not playing with y'all. They're not playing no games with y'all. Zero games. None of it. This is what they base their belief off of too, because this is under the marks of Christianity. I told you we have to return the Church of Christianity back to the Europeans. Now, Yeshua, Isa El Median, we're going to keep him. He belonged to us. That's our brother. This other entity, we're not dealing with that. Let's go down and read this real quick together, fam, before we get out of here. This is Genesis 1:26. Then God said, let us make mankind in our image and likeness. This is not you. You're not mankind. You're human. This is kind of a man being created. In our image and our likeness, so that they may rule over the fish of the sea and the birds of the sky and over the livestock and the wild animals and all the creatures that move around the ground. So God created mankind in his own image and likeness, and in the image of God, he created them, male and female. God blessed them and said, let them be fruitful and multiply and increase in numbers and fill the earth and subdue it. Rule over the fish of the sea and the birds in the sky and over every living creature that moves on the ground. Then God said, I give you every seed bearing plant on the face of the whole earth, and every tree has fruit and seed within it. They will be yours for food. And all these beasts on the earth and the birds in the sky and all creatures that move along the ground. I thought the beasts were the creatures. No, I'm going to show you who the beast of the earth is too. I'm going to show you who the beast of the beast of the earth, chattel. That's why they labeled Negroes as chattel property, like cows. You became the beast of the burden. They had rulership and dominion. This is why the slave master had the mentality that he had. You don't? Okay. All right. I ain't making no sense. Okay. Watch this. All right. In the Moorish, did I get it right? Get it right. Now, there's teaching in the Moorish science. It's the 101s. I'm tripping. Hold on. These are the 101 studies. Oh, man, I ain't doing all that. Oh, it's right here. Question 93. Question 93 of the Morris teaching. Will you define for me the word white? White means purity. Purity means God. And God means the rulers of the land. Man, these white folk tripping. Man, these white people. These white folks. These white people. These white people. These white people. These white people. My bad, family. Hit the wrong button. Fucked around and said white too many times. It cut me off. But the point I'm making is we are giving them the authority. We are giving them the authority. We define for me white. White means purity. Purity means God's. And God means the ruler of the land. This is what solidifies Genesis 1:27. This is what this is what put the nail in the coffin for Genesis chapter 1:27 to 28. There we go. 27. And gave them what? Dominion. Dominionship. Who was the dominionship given to? Mankind. Mankind received the dominionship. Well, you can say there was no Esau in Genesis chapter 1 yet. Esau's not even born yet. There's no Abraham for Esau to even be born. I'm giving you the roots. I'm giving you the roots. This is why this can happen. Watch this. This is how them supposed white people can stand on this right here within their faith. See, this only works within what they believe. Outside of the jurisdiction of Christianity, this shit has no validation. This is why you got to bring your black ass up out of it. Because if you operate under the jurisdiction of what they believe in, then by the right of what it says, they have the authority by what their book says. And the Pope, the Pope has all the power because he is Jesus. He is Christ on earth. He is the ruler of earth. He is the ruler of earth. Islam. He is. I'm sorry. It's hey, listen, man. This is why Noble Drew Ali taught you have to return the Church of Christianity back to the Europeans. This is something that was built for their salvation. Why not? The psychonegrosis is deep, man. The psychonegrosis is deep on our people. They will not let it go. Even with me showing receipts, some of y'all are still struggling right now to understand what the hell is going on. That's how deep the spell is, family. I'm showing y'all that the head of the Catholic Church, which is the biggest religion on this planet, he said that he is Jesus Christ. And he stands in the place. Who can stand in the place of Jesus? And I showed you in the earlier development of Christianity how they made Jesus God. So if Jesus is God and Pope sits as Jesus on earth, then what's the Pope? God. Then who's talking in Genesis chapter 1:27 just now? God. Who has dominion of the earth? God. But remember in the psychonegrosis definition, how we now believe the xenophilia of the Anglican Church. I just showed y'all as the Anglican Church and the origins of the Anglican Church and how the Anglican Church grassroots is just Catholicism. And according to the Anglican beliefs, the Pope is the head of the snake. You must divest yourself. Get rid of the thought itself that you belong to such a clergy, because you don't belong. That ain't yours. That's psychonegrosis. This is not yours. It's like when we try to force ourselves into their diners. First of all, let me sidestep for a second. Remember in the 60s when our people tried to forcibly go into the diners and eat with the white people and sit at the counters, and first of all, they can't cook. Let's make the record straight. They cannot cook. I don't want to go in their diners any damn way. I don't want to go. We want to go sit in their movie theater. We fought tooth and nail to go in their establishments. We were separated from them. You had bands of them who was fucking with us, but we could have formed our own militia and got rid of that situation very easily, because we had the right to bear arms in the 60s. By then, the black codes didn't really apply to us unless you was a felon under civil mortuus. But by the 60s, we had working class black folks who weren't. There were no gangs to be thought of how it is now. There were organization cliques and crews in the 60s. But we fought tooth and nail to get into their organizations, to get into their clubs, to shake our booties with them, and to eat in their diners, and to be with them, and go to their church and worship where they worship, and read their books and get educated. Now we complain that our children are forcibly being taught that Columbus discovered them, or well, your grandma them fought for them to go into school with them in the first damn place. When we had our own black institution, we weren't learning that shit. We were learning about our people, our heroes. But through assimilation, it's called assimilation, indoctrination, we now seem to believe every time we hear the word Jesus, no, it's not yours. It's not yours. He's not yours. He's not yours. It's somebody else's. That's somebody else's thinking. That's somebody else's belief. That's somebody else's doctrine. That's somebody else's formula. That's somebody else. Now, they have a physical God here on earth named the Pope. Okay? I'm not making this up. You see it for yourself on the screen. And the Pope said, go take that shit over there in the Western world. Go take all of it. Go take it. Go take it. Go take it. Doctrine of Discovery. The Doctrine of Discovery provides the framework for Christian explorers in the name of their sovereign. Who was their sovereign? Who was their sovereign? The Pope, which is who? Jesus. To lay claim to the territories uninhabited by, not uninhabited by people, uninhabited by Christians, because we didn't even believe, we didn't even know what that was. We did not know what it was yet. They came to set up monasteries. The Nina, the Pinta, the Santa Maria. The Santa Maria is Saint Mary. It was a ship full of, guess what? Bishops to come convert people into Christianity. And those who would not convert, they could counsel them out. They could kill the infidels. They called them infidels. Because the Pope said, if they don't want to convert, just kill them. And then by way of fear-mongering, what was known as purgatory, because they just did the same thing in Europe under what's called purgatory. They forcibly converted Englishmen into Christianity, forcibly under purgatory. That's when they had all the torture devices and all that kind of stuff. And they created this notion, this place called hell you can go to, because it wasn't even a thing at first. They created the idea of it during purgatory. If you don't believe in it, then you're going to go here. And they tortured people. And the Salem witch hunt, Europeans used to burn their wives for having orgasms. Thought the wives were possessed. Ladies, you couldn't even have an orgasm. They thought you was possessed with a demon, and they would burn you at the stake under purgatory. So they brought purgatory to the shores of America, of the Americas, not North America, because the North American religious group come in a little bit later in the 1600s. The way that the ancestors died in the islands in South and Central America, they were laughing at how they died in North America later. Like, that's all that happened to y'all? Y'all got lynched? That's it? The conquistadors who came into South America and the adjoining islands at the time tortured those people so bad. They peeled their skin off. They dropped them in hot oil like French fries. Being lynched in the 1800s was light work by then. Europeans had been doing, they came up with some shit. They came up with all type of ways to kill people. So we turn on the news and we see the sister who just got shot in the face by the cop a couple weeks ago. It makes it easy to understand. It's in their DNA. Makes it very easy to understand who they are to the core. They're not afraid of black people. They don't like you. They never have liked people of color. Ever. The Doctrine of Discovery provides a framework for Christian explorers in the name of their sovereign, who is the Pope. The Pope is their sovereign. The Pope represents who? Jesus. To lay claim to the territories of uninhabited by Christians, not uninhabited by people. People were already here. They just weren't Christian yet. But they will be in a minute. After we kill them and take the babies and the women, we're going to convert them first. If the land was vacant, then they could be defined as discoverable and sovereignty claimed. So none of you Moors are sovereign. You can't be sovereign and be from America. You can't be an indigenous American and be claimed. You have to come from some other type of authority figure from somewhere else to be sovereign here. You can't be sovereign on your own land. It's not called sovereign on your own land. It's just yours. Now, a foreign agent can come over here and claim sovereignty on your land. That's how that works. A foreign entity can, but you can't if you're really from. And if you're not from here, you can. 1493 papal decree aimed to justify Christianity. European explorers claim on land and waterway that allegedly discovered and promote Christendom. See that? Christian dominion and superiority, and has applied in Africa and Asia and Australia and New Zealand and the Americas. That's called Christendom. Under the 1493 papal decree, and justified Christian explorers to claim land and waterways. It's not even theirs. It's not even theirs. The Papal Bull Indica Terra, issued by Pope Alexander VI on May 4th, 1493, played a central role in Spanish conquest of the New World. Let me show you how Spain was rolling real quick before we get out of here. The Spanish Armada.
These pictures should match.
This is how Spain rolled. Look. Hold on. 197 ships. They had 34 warships, 163 armed merchant vessels, 30 or more 200-ton flyboats. The Armada was 24. Oh, shit. Hold on. 24 warships, 44 armed merchantmen, 38 auxiliary vessels, 31 supply vessels, 2,431 artillery pieces, 10,000 sailors, 19,000 soldiers, Spanish and Portuguese, 90% Spaniard, 10% Portuguese. The Netherlands, 31,000 soldiers, 170 barges, 55,000 men, 137 ships. The Spanish Armada, also known as the Invincible Armada, or the Enterprise of England, Spain, Gran y Felicima Almedan, Grand of the Most Fortunate Navy, was the Spanish fleet that sailed the Lisbon in the late May 1588, commanded by Alonso de Guzman, Duke of Medina, an aristocrat without previous naval experience, appointed by Philip II of Spain. His order was to sail up the English Channel, join with the Duke of Parma and Flanders. and escort an invasion force that would land in England and overthrow Elizabeth I. Its purpose was to reinstate Catholicism. They've been fighting for a long time, this Catholicism, these Catholics in England, and in the support of Dutch Republic in a preventive attack by the English and Dutch privateers against Spain's interests in the Americas, and prevent attacks by English and Dutch privateers, also known as pirates, against the Spanish interests in the Americas. So we see these pirate movies and shit like that. That's just them fighting them. Okay? You're not going to see any black pirates. I mean, in the movies you'll see them, but not in real life. Now, the Buccaneers are different. All right? A little bit of clarity to that. That's the Spanish Navy. And they came deep. What 3 ships did Columbus come back with?
According to National Geographic Society, Columbus set sail from Spain in 3 ships, the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria.
Those 3 ships were a part of the Spanish Armada. That's my whole point to showing y'all that shit. That's my whole point to showing y'all that. These 3 ships were a part of the Spanish Armada. They were part of the Spanish fleet. Those 147 privateer ships, those 5,000 soldiers, and this is what Columbus came back with right here. He came over here, peaked game, and came back. The Nina and the Pinta continued in service following the voyages of the New World, but no record has been discovered that give clues of their fate. The 3 ships that first voyage are considered to be the holy grail of ship archaeology. And these are warships. Warships. Now, I think we're almost through this. I want to show you guys a couple more things real quick, if y'all don't mind. And then we're going to pause and take time for questions and answers real quick. I want to show y'all a couple more things real quick, though. Talked about that already. What's this right here? We got the Pope already. Pope is out of the way. Lord proprietors. You guys should write down Lord. Let me give you this word again. You guys should write down this word right here, please. Write down Lord's proprietors. Lord proprietors. It's going to help you understand when the great land grab happens in North America, every territory, state had to be established under a charter, etc. Your courtroom, that seal that says the city of whatever was established, that's under a charter. Well, the state of Georgia, the state of South Carolina, the state of North Carolina, the state of New York, so on and so forth, they all have a dated charter. Watch this if you don't believe me. Picture of Virginia charter. Everybody got charter. The first charter of Virginia, also known as the Charter of 1606, is a document from King James I of England, of the Virginia Company, assigning land rights to colonists for the creation of settlement, which could be used as the base to export commodities to Great Britain and create a buffer preventing total Spanish domination. I'm going to assume that says right there, right? So they're under charters. How are these charters provocable in territory that don't belong to them? How are these charters powered? Where do these charters get their backing from? Who is backing these charters? That's your homework for tonight. It's to find out how do these now every state has a charter, meaning its foundation. I'm from Georgia. I know our first board member, our first charter member was James Oglethorpe for the state of Georgia. Your homework is to find out when did your state receive its charter? When did your state receive its charter? Moors, y'all should know this. You need to know this. When did your state receive its charter? And then you're gonna search back. Who was the first chartered member for your territory? Run across too many Moors. I'm from the territory of New York. I'm from the territory. Who founded the territory, Negro? It wasn't even a territory. It wasn't even a state. It was none of that. It was never none of that. It had to be established. And then the government of your state was set up. And then the municipality was set up to smaller entities called cities. And those cities contracted under the colorable law to invoke policies, statutes, and ordinances of that municipality because that land was already chartered to them. Okay? Every city has a charter. Every county is chartered. The word county means conquered land, by the way. And every state has a charter. All 48 colonies. I don't call them states. State comes from the word nation. Nation comes from the words kin, tribe. That's the etymology of the word nation. They're not nations and they're not nation states. They're 48 territories or 48 colonies. I don't know why, for whatever reason, we learned about the 13 colonies and then we just decided to stop fucking counting for some reason. No, it was 14, then 16, and 18, then 20, then 25 colonies, then 27 colonies, then 35 colonies, then 42 colonies, then 48 colonies. Nah, man, it's 50. It's not 50. The charter with Alaska and Hawaii had been done. There's no more charter with Hawaii or Alaska. There's only 48 territories. There's only 48 colonies. Find out when your territory was initiated. Find out when the charter of your county, of your state was initiated, Moors. You know that this is all the Moorish Empire and man, shut up with all that shit. I don't want to hear that. Don't come to me with that. Do not mention that shit to me or around me because I'm gonna drill you. I'm gonna ask you some questions. You know, all this was used to be Egypt. This used to be the Moorish Empire and blah, 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 rah, rah, rah. And you don't even know about the 1663 Carolina Charter. You don't know about any of the charters that came over here. You don't even know how they got the charters. And until tonight, a lot of us didn't even understand how the Doctrine of Discovery had its power. I just explained how the Pope got his power, who the Pope really is, behind the curtain, who he really is. Well, I didn't tell you who the Pope really is. If the Pope claims ecclesiastical authority over the earth, over the world, who is the Pope really? This is a question for y'all. Outside of this explanation of who the Pope is, I'm showing on my screen, who is the Pope really representing? If he has dominion of the earth, who does the Pope represent? I'm gonna ask my master students and my disciples who know how I teach to answer this question. Who has dominion of the earth for real? According to the book. Because I'm showing you on paper who has authority. And it says he represents Christ, but we know there is no Christ because Jesus was not a Christ. Thank you. No. Thank you, Chris. Chris hit it on the head. Corinthians 4:4. Now, I'm going to teach y'all something. You see how it says the God of this age? This is the NIV. You got to pull this right here up. There it is. 2 Corinthians 4:4. Not the creator, bae. Satan. So if the Pope is sitting in the seat as the ruler of earth, then who is the Pope really, family? I just showed y'all all the devilishness they just did to get the land. We didn't even go into detail because we know half of the history already, how they killed, pillaged, starved, biological warfare with the blankets on the Trail of Tears, stole land, lied, reclassified people. That's some devilish stuff. Yes, he is a beast. He represents the beast. He represents the 666, not the true 666. And we know that we're the carbon 666, but in the context of what we're talking about, he represents the devil. This is not Jesus. Look, man, let me show y'all something. Where did Jesus say he from? Jesus ain't even from here. Jesus talks to the disciples. Jesus said, you are from below. I am from above. You belong to this world, but I don't. The Jesus I know ain't even from here. I'm not sure what Jesus y'all talking about, but the one I know ain't John 8:23. Jesus said, I'm not even from here. Bro, I ain't from here. It's just like somebody from New York coming to Atlanta. Bro, I ain't even from here. I'm from up top. Y'all from down here. I don't do what y'all do. I don't eat grits, son. I wear Tim's, son. I don't even wear Ad Max. It's a whole different situation. That's my point. Jesus said, I'm not even from here. I'm not from here. So you take this back to your Christian mama and your Christian grandma and your Christian leaders and teachers, and you question them on this stuff, man. You talk to them. Jesus is not from here. See, this is why Jesus said this right here. This is why he said this right here. They are not of this world, even as I am not of this world. Being of this world means following the unbelieving world values and beliefs and conducts. Be in the world, but not of the world. Be in it, but not of it. Be in it, but not of it. All right, family, I'm going to open the floor real quick for question and answers before I get out of here. Are there any questions? Anything we covered tonight? And I assure you, we probably didn't even make it through our what you call it? I'm trying to pull it up now. Give me a second. Through our actual lesson. If you guys want to yeah, I got you, Keith. I got you, bro. As soon as I log off here, man, give me like 15 minutes and I got you. Thank you for answering that question too. And I think that I'm gonna start doing that from now on to get more participation out of everybody. Is just throw out some trivia, see if you guys are paying attention, taking notes. But I definitely got you, Keith. I got you, bro. Appreciate you, my guy. Are there any questions before we get out of here? I want to make sure all minds and hearts are clear before I depart from you guys. If you guys want a copy of that outline, right down below is my email. I can send you a copy of it and pull it up for you one more time. Give me a second. It's loading up right now. I can send you a copy of that outline. You guys can on your own accord, go and take some notes. I'll be back Friday at noon. If you missed the Friday noon class, I'll be back Sunday as well. I'm gonna try to get on here with Crom probably Sunday. I'll be back Friday. On Friday, I'm going to be covering where's my thing at? On Friday, I'm going to be covering the lecture over the HBC, the history of the historical black colleges, the untold history of HBCUs. So on Friday at noon, set your reminder, click the bell on my channel, click the bell on Crum TV, and share this with anybody that's part of the Omega Phi, Psi Phi, Thetas, Sigma Rho. It ain't got anything to do with them. I'm going in on the origin of this whole situation, this whole debacle. And then on next week, I'm going to circle back to the 13 penal colonies. Hopefully, by the time I get back on the 13 penal colonies, we have a clear idea of how our land got taken, and we have a clear idea on why they're treating us the way they're treating us. Hopefully, by then, there's a clear, concise understanding. After I covered some of this Western European history tonight, you guys have a clear understanding about what happened to our people. But this is next week, though. I did a part 1 earlier this week about the 13 penal colonies. And again, I don't know why we stopped counting the colonies at 13. There's 48 colonies, people. And they all are loyal to the crown. I know they try to throw the Democrat, don't fall for the gap. But if you want this email, shoot me an email. In the subject, put Doctrine of Discovery in the subject. Send me an email, the MOI Podcast gmail.com. In the subject, put the Doctrine of Discovery, and I'll send you this outline. And just even if you don't write anything down, it's a good outline to have in your notes. So as you're talking to people, even if you want to go through this outline and just write dates beside everything, so you can have in your mind chronological history of how everything happened. And see, we didn't talk about the fall of the Moors. We didn't talk about the fall of the Moors. I covered that in the 13 penal colonies because the fall of the Moors really can be a continual conversation throughout all this information for real. Like it literally could be about it. Part 5, the long-term effect of the Doctrine of Discovery. Well, I think we're living out the long-term effect right now. The Christian empire and the global impact. So if you want this outline, shoot me an email. The email is scrolling right down below. I'm going to take a couple questions. I'm going to the chat right now. Any questions? Let's see. First question: what's a good book or doc you recommend to learn more about pre-Columbian Americans? If you have not read Ivan Van Sertima, They Came Before Columbus, that's a really good read, actually. The Return of the Ancient Ones. That's another good one too, by Empress Vertices. That's actually a great read. And it's just more detailed and specific to North America, Central America versus any of the literature. So I would say start with Ivan Van Sertima, They Came Before Columbus, Empress Vertices, The Return of the Ancient Ones. The symbolism of the B, like the letter B. You got to be more specific, Bay. I'm not real concerned about that. I'm not familiar with that. I apologize. I'm trying to read comments too. The circle with the cross on top isn't that known as the abyss from the 72 demons? Never heard of that. I'm gonna look into it right now. That symbol, that symbol top of the cross just represents the zodiac. Also known as the Quadrant 7. There's a got the brother name. The symbol of Earth. Who put the logos? It's long, brother. What up, bro? Islam, the logos. See, the circle 7 also represents the quadrant 7. if you remove that 7 out of the middle, that cross will fit right between those quadrants right there. See those? There's actually 4 quadrants. This is the quadrant 7. That's why there's breaks in the middle. It's not a circle 7. It's a quadrant 7. Those are 4 quadrants. Those 4 quadrants represents truth, love. I'm not sorry. Those 4 quadrants represents the four cardinal virtues. Let me show you what I'm talking about. 1, 2, 3, 4. These are 4 quadrants, which represents the 4 cardinal virtues. The 4 cardinal virtues. 4 deacons. Let's start there first. Because the zodiac is broke down into 4 quadrants also. The 4 quadrants of the zodiac, the four deacons, or as I was saying earlier, the 4 cardinal virtues. The 4 cardinal virtues right here. See that how that cross came back up right here again? Prudence, temperance. It's supposed to be fortitude, not courage. But the 4 cardinal virtues is what that quadrant 7 represents right there. The quadrant 7. And then of course that circle 7 or that quadrant 7, the number 7 represents the 7 daughters of Atlas, which are known as the Pleiades. The circle 7 or the quadrant 7 on the Moorish Quran, the 7 represents the 7 heroines or the 7 daughters of Atlas, known as the Pleiades, which represents the Pleiades star constellation. That's why that circle 7 is a cipher for breaking down the zodiac. Those 4 quadrants also represents the 4 seasons. It's all dealing with zodiac symbolism. Sorry, I went on a tangent on that one. Let me go back to the questions. I apologize, y'all. Got that. Islam, MOI. Appreciate it. Khalid, give me about 2 minutes to check my phone. My phone's actually dead, brother. But text that number. Matter of fact, hold on, family. Text that number when you get a chance, Khalid, and I'll correspond with you via text. The circle and the cross on top, isn't that also known as a bit? I have to look into that. Waking soul, no sleep. I have to look into that. I'm gonna write that down and take a look at it. Your wife is an AKA. Now, there's nothing wrong. Let me say something about this right quick. All right. Then there's nothing wrong with the Greek organizations. However, I would prefer that we had our own indigenous or African organizations, because the Africans taught the Greek how to read. The Egyptians taught the Greeks how to read and write. The Greeks never had an alphabet. Okay. The Greeks never had an alphabet. So AKA, Sigma, Theta, all that stuff comes out of the Egyptian, what's called the Egyptian hieratic and demonic form of writing. Let me show you real quick. So you have the hieroglyphics, you have the metaneter. See right here, hieratic and Greek Coptic. So the Greeks captured their alphabet from the hieratic form of writing, not the hieroglyphic. You had hieratic and demonic form of writing, and that's where the Greeks got their alphabet from. So I don't see why these sisters and brothers just don't go create an Egyptian order to go join. Did you already address the fake outage over the new Denzel role in Gladiator 2? Just curious since we... No, I didn't. Oh, the fake outrage over the new Denzel role in Gladiator. No, let's take a look at it though. I didn't know there was one coming out, bro. Let's take a look at this, brother. Denzel's that guy, man. Denzel Washington is one of the greatest actors of all time, man.
I remember that day. I never forgot it. That a slave could take revenge against an emperor.
Where were you born?
I don't know. I never knew a mother nor a father.
You will be my instrument.
Who are you?
Did you hear that crowd? The greatest temple Rome ever built. The Colosseum. Because this is what they believe in. Power.
General Acacius, there are victories yet still to come.
Rome has so many subjects, she must feed them.
They can eat war!
The arena turns slaves into gladiators, the gladiators into free men.
You have something in you. I knew it from the start.
Did you now?
Rage. That rage is your gift.
This is about survival!
All right. Y'all get the point. That's gonna be a badass movie right there. Oh my god. It's gonna be crazy. That's gonna be crazy. Did y'all see that shit? Did y'all see that? Yeah. Gotta check that out. But then y'all also see how crazy those Romans are too, right? Them jokers are crazy. And they were fighting in what's called the Colosseum. The Colosseum between the Persimis and the Dehemis. Okay, hold on. Let me go back to my questions. I apologize. Were the Greek Christians before the Roman Christians? Yes. The Greeks, as I showed you earlier, were people like Ptolemy. Ptolemy was actually the creator of Serapis. It's back in BC era. The Greeks were the first ones to breach into Egypt under Alexander. Alexander was a Macedonian, but however, the Greeks are credited for going into Egypt first. Roman rule actually came in later. The Romans were killing the Christians until I just showed you in 380 AD, the Roman Emperor Constantine declared it illegal to kill Christians, and then kind of sided with the Christian 380. So the Romans 380, the Greeks before that. So yes, answer your question, absolutely before that. Let me see. Sorry, I kind of got off track with the questions, y'all. So if I miss your questions, charge to my head, not to my heart. Take a couple more. Is Noble Drew Ali dad named Quitman Drew or John Drew? His name is John Quitman Drew. John Quitman Drew. According to what's written. Let me say that. Let me say it. According to what is written. And I probably should have put in so let me show you real quick. Newark, New Jersey, converts right here. John A. Quitman Drew. John A. Quitman Drew, a military and political leader of the Cherokee Coharie Nation. Noble Drew Ali's mother was Eliza Turner Quitman, full-blooded Washita. And because she was Washita or Oshitush, she had a right to claim to the land of Louisiana. Those thousands and thousands of acres of territory that were sold under gifted on Louisiana purchase situation. So yes, he was John A. Drew Quitman. And crazy thing about John Quitman Drew, or Drew Quitman, was that he was tasked under the Confederacy. It was a Confederate branch of the Confederacy under the Cherokee to go hunt runaway slaves. That was part of his job, of his regiment. John Quitman Drew, and that's the father of Timothy Drew. Let me not say Noble Drew Ali. Let me say Timothy Drew did have a mama and a daddy. You know, that's just what that is. It wasn't no immaculate conception. The man had a mama and a daddy, and if that's his mama and daddy, then who cares? All right, guys, I got questions. Time for like maybe one or two more questions, and I gotta get up out of here, family. Was Noble Drew Ali a Cherokee? His mama was full-blooded Wichita. His dad was full-blooded. His dad wasn't a Cherokee. His dad fought for the Cherokee tribe. It says a source different but background upbringing reported that the orphan son of two former slaves born in Cherokee tribe, while others described him as a son of John Drew Quitman, military political leader of the Cherokee Coharie Nation, Elizabeth Turner Quitman, full-blooded Washita. So you can say that, and that'd be a whole nother conversation. So thanks for your questions, y'all. I appreciate y'all so much, man. I'm gonna get up out of here, man. It's been a long one. It's been a real one. I appreciate it. What you say, brother? The original name of Cherokee begins with, yeah. The Cherokee was like a made-up name, but there's an original name. People say Washita, but the real name is Oshitush. Oshitush, and the French called them Washita. So I'm not sure about the origins of the Cherokee nation. So that's what's up, man. Hey, listen, I appreciate y'all to death, man. Thanks for the donations. My phone just died. Griff, I got your cash out, big bro. I'm gonna take care of you. Thanks for the donations for the night, y'all. Again, the cash app is at the bottom, or the app is at the bottom. Either way, y'all. I'm gonna see y'all Friday back here at 12 o'clock noon, high noon. We'll talk about these land grant colleges, or these HBCUs in these black orphan asylums. And then on Sunday, I'm gonna see if I can get Crom to come on with me to do a Sunday school situation and tap back into that Bible, man. Appreciate y'all to death, man. Listen, y'all have a safe and fun night. Appreciate y'all. Happy Friday Eve. It's Thursday. Holy Days tomorrow. Appreciate y'all again. Thanks for tapping in. You guys rode out with me the whole time, man. I appreciate that. The whole time we rode together tonight. That's nothing but love. My master students, my disciples, everybody, peace and love.
Hello, everybody. Recording live from somewhere.
Minister of Information.
Next question. Minister.
Did you wake me up?
Minister.
Did you wake me up?
Minister.
Why did you wake me up?
The minister.
Wake up.
Minister of Information. All I'm offering is the truth.
The minister.
The minister's
I want the truth.
the minister.
You